The assassination of the supreme leader of the Islamic Republic of Iran is a great crime. As the new Ayatollah of the Islamic Republic of Iran, I pledge that this atrocity will not go unanswered. With all our strength and determination, we will make the perpetrators of this crime regret the dawn.
The assassination of the new Ayatollah of the Islamic Republic of Iran is a great crime. As the new Ayatollah of the Islamic Republic of Iran, I pledge.
Hello? New Ayatollah here. Look, I really didn't want this job, okay? I just joined the government like 3 weeks ago, and I was sitting in a cubicle way off in the corner, and next thing I know, some folks talking across the office are all like, let's get Ahmed to do it. No one will miss him. I heard you guys. So, yeah, I'm just hoping we can all be cool here. There's no need for things to get all... Oh. Wait a minute. False alarm. It's just my new pager. It's the latest model. You can even play Snake on it. In fact...
So I'm the new Ayatollah, and I know the drill.
I am honored to have been elected as the new supreme leader of Iran. As my very first order, I call for an immediate stop to all deadly attacks on the great nation of Qatar. I just bought a new house in Doha, and I would really prefer that it remains intact. Thank you, and may Allah bless you. I am honored to have been elected as the new supreme leader of Iran.
Well, that was a bit weird. My mouse acting funky. My mouse acting funky on me. Good. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the following program. I am your host, Joe Neerman, a.k.a. Good Lawgic. Today's big story. Kristi Noem out. Markwayne Mullin in. DHS. Also, Tucker Carlson, the very man we saw, courtesy of AI, not my own AI. But yeah, that Tucker Carlson has lost it. His latest claim is so bizarre that you actually need a Jew to walk you through it. Just how insane his take is. Really, really insane. Funny. It would be funny if not for the fact that you know that there's a certain percentage of the world out there. It's like, ooh, really? Ooh, I did not know. Thank you for enlightening me, Tucker Carlson. Anyhow, there's also a lot of other stories going on in the news. I've got stuff involving Nancy Mace, Tony Gonzalez. There's just crazy amounts of stuff. There's 7th Circuit decisions, 9th Circuit decisions. I don't know if we're going to get to those. We'll see if we get to those. I'm still not sure, on the timing of all this. We're going to see. There's just a lot going on, and that's why we label that as lots more news, because there is a lot more going on. But the other thing we have going on here is that we have a goal tonight of 15 Super Chats or Rumble Rants or Digger Dollars or whatever in quantities of $10 or higher. We hit 15 of those, and I will guarantee a show, God willing, on Saturday night. Yeah, when we're changing the clocks, I'll be here. I don't know if I'll be here at the time that we're changing the clocks. That I'm not sure, but yeah, probably finishing around then. So who knows? Anyhow, all that and more. Oh, and I almost forgot. Plus, we're co-hosts tonight, but one of the greatest co-hosts anyone could ever ask for, Jim Satala, a.k.a. Jim Tells You.
How's it going? Great night tonight.
Yeah, great. It's exciting night tonight, isn't it?
A lot of stuff going on, man. So much news.
Before we go further, I'll do the Kristi Noem thing. and I'll just ask you. Let's talk about me.
Okay.
The beard. What do you think?
We went through this Tuesday night.
Grow it back.
I would grow it back.
Like
I mean,
fast.
I say you look younger, way younger without it. Good 15, 20 years younger. But I'm just going to tell you, like, if you want to, you seem more like wise with the beard, like
wise,
like a wise man.
I mean, to fool the internet into thinking I'm wise by
Correct.
growing a gray beard.
Correct.
That's
I mean, that's the term they have for people that are old and wise. They're the gray beards.
Yeah, there you go.
That's why I don't have a beard, because mine is pure white.
Right. So what you're saying is you're not like at a stage where you're trying to it's not about being pretty. It's about looking wise.
Yes.
So you're saying I look better without it, but I look wiser with it. That's what I'm taking from what you're saying here.
Yeah, I actually have. I can show you what I look like with my beard. I have it here. Hold on. Here we go. Here, I'll show you. Ready? That's what I look like when I grow a beard.
Nice. It's remarkable.
Yeah, it's like it's crazy.
Right.
It's
Thin beard. Okay, full beard. Full beard or trimmed?
Well, I mean, I don't like it. I don't know. I sound like an idiot, but I thought there was like rules about the beard.
No, not relevant in this.
Not relevant to this. Okay.
No, when you're using an electric razor, you can pretty much do whatever you want. So that's good. Yeah.
All right.
So
I don't know. There was nothing wrong with your beard before.
I
know. I would do whatever your wife tells you to do, Joe.
That's the wisest call. That's the wisest thing you've said so far. Now, thank you very much. All right. So I think the beard is making a comeback soon. I think I'm going to actually start growing it even like now. Like I don't know if I'm going to be shaving anytime in the near future.
How long do you think it'll take? A month?
Less
than a month?
No, yeah. You'll see the trimmed beard. It'll be in full within a week.
Okay.
So by the end of next week, the very latest, yeah, I should be full beard. Okay. Where are we at? Yeah, I wanted to share with you some interesting news. A lot of people think that Trump is very unpopular because of this war in Iran, right? I mean, that's if you live on X, you think that, his popularity has waned dramatically, right? Am I wrong about that? You spent a lot of time on X.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they try to put out there. He's completely unpopular. Nobody likes him.
Terribly unpopular. This is what CNN put out. Check this out.
Republicans love Donald Trump more than any president's own party supporters loved him at this particular point. Just take a
more than anyone else ever had at this particular point. That's an astonishing statement.
look here. Okay, own party supporters, 21st century presidents, own party approval about at this point in the second term. Bush was at 77%. Obama was at 77%. Look at this. 86% of Republicans approve of the job that Donald Trump is doing at this point. That is higher than either Obama or Bush had within their own party at this point. Trump's magic touch has not seen a war off yet when it comes to the Republican base.
And what kind of approval are we talking about here?
Okay, so we're talking about overall approval here. How about the strongly approved, not just like, but love. Okay, we're going to look at these same presidents again. Strong approval among your own party's base. What you see here is Trump is the only one who gets a majority at this point in their presidency. Obama was at 48%. Bush was at 47%. You see here Trump at 53%. Not as high as overall approval rating, but still getting a majority of the Republican base, at least in the average of polls, to say that they still really, really, really like him.
Okay.
So there you go. That was one report on this. I actually have two on this, just because Harry Enton gets a little too excited for me. Notice how I'm using Brave. I just installed Brave. Yeah,
that's very brave of you.
It was very brave. Yeah, so I'm still learning my way around this, but yeah, I've only been hearing it for like 3 years from my audience. Like, just install friggin' Brave already, so you don't get those pop-up ads. So we're hoping that works out. But here's another.
I had a problem with Brave. The only problem I had was when I pull up a lot of news sites, like to read stories, it'll basically won't let you do anything because it says you have to disable the ad blocker. So
it's like, I have. Right, well. By the way, I have had a goatee at various points in my life, and I look incredibly evil with the goatee. I look like incredibly evil with a goatee.
All right, now we got to see the goatee now.
I look really evil with a goatee.
You're going to have to do it. Yeah, Evil Joe.
Evil Joe. Evil Joe.
If you look at the Real Clear Politics average of polls for presidents at this moment, at this day, and you look at that chart, President Trump is at 43.3%, President Obama at 42.5%.
This is not just within the base. This is nationally.
President Bush at 38.7%, March 5th. If you look at the Real Clear Politics.
It's an incredible statement. I mean, none of them, I mean, I guess at this stage in his career, Bush was at war and, you know, but Obama wasn't really in any war of his own making at this point. So it's an astonishing thing that despite his taking us into, we're not really at war with Iran. We're sort of flirting with war. We've had some casualties. So I guess, you know, that it feels like we're at war, but I don't think we have troops in Iran yet, which makes it not feel like we're completely at war. But yeah, considering the fact that that's a policy which I think raised a lot of questions, and on Twitter they make it as if, oh my God, this is like the craziest thing he's ever done in his life. I think that his popularity so far is holding up well, but I do think that the longer he stays in Iran and he keeps us engaged there, that is just going to steadily erode. That popularity I predict will steadily erode, and it will and the base will turn on him. And
yeah,
I don't.
mean, if you remember, I didn't mean to cut you off, but if you remember, like George H.W. Bush after Desert Storm, you know what I mean? It went real fast. It was quick. It was over. We won. Everybody came
Shock and awe.
Shock and awe. Boom, boom, boom. The first, you know, his popularity was through the roof. And then there was that one little thing that he did where, you know, read my lips, no new taxes. And then he signed on to new taxes. And
But that was Herbert Walker.
That's what I said. Herbert Walker. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. His popularity at, you know, when Desert Storm ended,
right,
was sky high.
Yeah,
it was basically they had to use a third party spoiler to get Clinton in, but I mean that wouldn't have mattered.
You know, my dad predicted the day that we were going to attack.
Really?
And with Desert Storm, he predicted the very day. Said this day, this time, this is when. And based on that, he bought puts on oil. Sorry, he bought stock in oil, not puts.
Right.
Puts is selling short. Right, he didn't sell short. He bought options on oil because he was like, oil is going to jack up as soon as we go in. So, what was his basis for coming up with the date? He said he's going to attack. You know, he's like, on this day, there's no moon out. There's a massive disadvantage for Iraq that they don't have night vision goggles, and for us it's basically the same thing as being a day. He's like, this day, this time, this is where we're going to be. This is when he's going to attack, and he nailed it. And the problem was that an hour after we went in, Bush got on live TV and announced the attack and that we were now like at war with Iraq, and said, and in order to ensure stability in the markets, I'm directing our oil reserves to release 5,000 barrels a day, like more than they're currently releasing. And by the time the stock market opened, oil prices tanked, and my father basically lost everything. And he said he's never invested in the stock market ever again.
Wow.
He's like, I know what's going to happen, like with respect to it. And yeah, he felt like he was very, very bothered by that. He felt like I knew what was going to happen, and I still got it wrong. Brooklyn 10952. Welcome to the following, my brother or sister. I don't know. Bro, I'm someone. Welcome aboard. Thank you so much for joining. Please be aware the following, despite its name, is not at all a cult type of cult. A beard or a good British accent denotes wisdom. This is probably true. Beware, GOP base is different than MAGA base. Tons of independents and disaffected liberals are or were MAGA. Some abandoned him. MAGA is shrinking. That's a fair point. That even though he might have a lot of popularity, it's the popularity is holding fast with the neocons who voted for him, and perhaps MAGA is shrinking. That's a great point. I have thought about the soul patch. And I also thought about the little chin thing, like just a tiny little chin thing. There's a lot of different ways to go, but probably not going to go with the soul patch at the end of the day. Let's get into talking about Kristi Noem and where things went wrong for her. Do you have speculation? Like when do you think we first started seeing cracks in the excitement about having Kristi Noem as our head of DHS?
From who? You talking about the people or from Trump?
Start with people.
I think like almost immediately when she started going around all stuff, basically inserting herself in operations, and basically it was like a reality show for her to get her name out there and face. I mean, I didn't like it from the start. I said, you shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be going out on like ride-alongs with people, arresting people, and then going up and like questioning people they're arresting. It's like, what are you doing? You're the Secretary of DHS. You know, you're not. What are you doing? This is ridiculous.
To me, I wasn't bothered by that so much personally. I thought that her comments at the first thing after Alex Preddy was killed, labeling him a domestic terrorist and saying that he was there to kill people, that was bad intel. That was just like a bad statement.
I think the guy was a domestic terrorist.
There's no way that anything in the video makes him look like he was a threat to society.
What do you mean? There's videos of him kicking the vehicle out, spitting on him. He used biological weapons by spitting on him.
Yeah, okay. But as far as like the way someone who's not like a dyed-in-the-wool MAGA is going to look at someone like that, do I think he was a jerk and a schmuck who's kind of a fool? Yeah. Do I think that anyone would see him? It's not like he was taking a car, driving it in. I would say someone's
not like
driving
Renee
a car
Good.
into ICE.
Not like Renee Good. You mean.
Renee Good, I think, can properly be labeled domestic terrorist. Because she's trying to run over ICE agents.
I think any of these people that are involved in these anti-ICE groups, I think they're all terrorists.
Okay, but when you look at his activities there, he doesn't look like he's a threat. He doesn't. You have to recognize that. He doesn't look like he's a harm to, he's a threat to ICE. And the next thing you know, he's dead. So, I'm not saying I'm not sitting here, in fasting and in mourning for the death of Alex Preddy. I think he was a fool, and a fool in his life sometimes, unfortunately, is quickly parted. But to call him a domestic terrorist based on the video evidence that she had at the time that she had it was a bit much. In that case, you could say anyone that they kill is domestic terrorist. As soon as there's any interaction, you're going to label them domestic terrorist. I think that reserving that label domestic terrorist to someone who is using an instrument in a way that could be deadly, that is appropriate. Someone who's a jerk, someone who's a moron and screaming and cursing, and even if they punch an ICE agent, I don't know that I label them a domestic terrorist. I think if you ascribe a very strong label too quickly, the same way they would call us KKK or racist or Nazis.
I'm just playing by their rules. They called every person that was at the protests on January 6th a domestic terrorist and insurrectionist. So, okay.
Yeah, okay, fine. And we think they're children for that. So why would you want to play a child's game? You know what I'm saying?
They set the rules.
Anyway, I thought that was it. You end up like, for people who hadn't really had time to analyze the video, you sort of say like, oh, okay, well, he's a domestic terrorist. I guess it's a good thing they got him. And then afterwards, you look at it and you're like,
I will also say I don't think the guy did anything that deserved to get him shot. I think him getting shot was an accident. I don't think it was
right.
You know what I mean? I think it was just a sequence of events that just spiraled, and he ended up getting shot because that gun fired for some reason.
Yeah. But my point is, I think Renee Good, basically, by her actions, you can make a case for her that she deserved to get killed for what she's doing, because she's trying to basically run over an ICE agent. She deserves to get killed. There's nothing Alex Preddy did which fits that description, which is why using that label was really bad. But this week, when she was at a hearing, is apparently when she had the moment that ended up ending her career as head of DHS. So I want to share this clip here. And ironically, it wasn't with a Democrat, it was with a Republican who was questioning her. And I was even unaware of this, because most of this was happening when I was getting ready for Purim. So and then I got drunk out of my mind. So I was unaware of just how bad she had some of her moments during this.
Do you think that this was not already known before the hearing, and that the reason these people went after her was because they knew, like, maybe Trump wanted them to do this so he could get rid of her? Like, I don't know, something's making me think, like, because when I saw the way Tom Tillis went at her, I was attacking Tom Tillis like, you fucking scumbag. But then when John Kennedy was asking the questions about, and I hope I'm not stepping over the story here,
No, it's fine.
that
That's fine.
about the the money.
Well, I'm actually about to show
All right.
that clip of Kennedy here. So we're gonna show his questioning of, so we can see what happened here, and we can assess what he did and also her responses.
I believe you have a policy, Madam Secretary, that you have to approve all contracts at your department over $100 million.
No, sir. I have a policy in place that I review contracts. My deputy chiefs have the ability to review anything under 5 million. Above that, I evaluate and look at.
Okay. And you do that, I understand, to try to curb waste and abuse of taxpayer money. Is that right?
Yes, sir. In fact, it's been extremely
And to try
effective.
to-
We've
to
saved the
curb,
taxpayers over
waste
$13.2
and
billion
abuse of
just by evaluating contracts, negotiating lower ones, and canceling ones that aren't necessary to do our duties.
How do you square that concern for waste, which I share, with the fact that you have spent $220 million running television advertisements that feature you prominently?
Sir, the president tasked me with getting the message out to the country and to other countries where we were seeing the invasion come from, with putting commercials out that told them that if they were in this country illegally, that they needed to leave, or we would detain them and remove them, and they'd not get the chance to come back to America the right way.
The
That has been
president-
extremely effective.
Ask you to run these advertisements, is that right?
We had that conversation, yes, before I was put in this position and sworn in and confirmed, and since then as well.
Okay. Did you bid out those service contracts?
Yes, they did. They went out to a competitive bid, and career officials at the department chose who would do those advertising commercials.
And the people that you ended up picking were people who had formerly done your political work back in South Dakota, is that right?
No, that's not correct, sir.
I think it is.
No, it's not, sir. The individuals who, I believe the careers who they chose were two different media firms. There's been conversation about their subcontractors, but we have no legal authority to look into subcontractors on work like that.
Okay. And you're saying that you're testifying that President Trump approved this ahead of time. Is that my understanding?
We had conversations about making sure that we were telling people.
No, ma'am. I'm asking you, sorry to interrupt, but the president approved ahead of time you spending $220 million running TV ads across the country in which you are featured promently.
Yes, sir. We went through.
So this is a little bit different of a question that he's asking. First, he said, "Did he approve this ad campaign?" And she said, she said he approved the ad campaign. But John Kennedy here is almost setting her up a little bit, where he's changing her testimony slightly to say that Trump approved the nature of the commercials that came out, not just the overall concept of having an ad campaign, but now he's switching it slightly to saying these ads are about you. These ads are very much you're featured very prominently in these ads. Did Trump approve that? Is that what you're testifying to? And she didn't testify to this previously. She never said that. She said that he approved the ad campaign and spending $200 million on that, but not the nature that he knew the content of what was actually in these commercials, that he looked through them. He's a very busy guy. It's for him to not actually look at the commercials is realistic. And she's about to step on a landmine here by saying that that's what he approved. I don't know if she realizes that the landmine she's stepping on, but that is basically what she's about to say.
The legal processes did it
Did the
correctly.
president
Worked
know
with
you were gonna do
OMB.
this?
Yes.
He did.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, is she saying, yes, he knows about the campaign, or yes, he knows that I'm going to basically be the star of these videos? How do you take that?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I agree. Like I don't know why she needed to be in the ads. The
Right.
ads should have just been somebody speaking in multiple different languages or whatever, or different ads sent to whatever countries, the language they speak, Spanish mostly, I would assume, or whatever. It didn't even need to be like on a set with people riding horses in front of the fucking Mount Rushmore. Like,
let's watch this so we can see just how much she's featured in this commercial, because it's pretty prominent. This is one of the ads.
Why do I love these wide open spaces? They remind me of why our forefathers came here. Not just for its beauty, but for the freedom only America provides. I'm Kristi Noem. From the cowboys who tamed the West, to the titans who built our cities, to the dreamers who chased the impossible, America has always rewarded vision and grit. Our greatness calls people to us for a chance to prosper, to live how they choose, to become part of something special. Anyone who searches for freedom can always find a home here, but that freedom's a precious thing, and we defend it vigorously.
There's a lot of Kristi Noem in this. There's a lot of Kristi Noem in this. I mean, you could have gotten an actress, you could have gotten an actor, you could have gotten anyone to do this.
this seems like more like an ad that she would run if she was running for office.
Yes. That's the problem with this ad. Like, I'm running for office and I'm aligned with Trump. That's pretty much how this plays.
You cross the border illegally, we'll find you. Break our laws, we'll punish you. Harm American citizens, there will be consequences. But if you come here the right way, your American dream can be as big as these endless skies. From President Trump and me, welcome home.
From President Trump and me, welcome home. Yikes. That's a lot of Kristi Noem.
And there was also something that she said that I think really, that honestly, wasn't like, we didn't have it, where she said that, yeah, well, President Trump wanted me to do the first ads just basically thanking him for everything he's done. And it's like, what? That's not, like, I don't think that's legal. You can't use government money to run an ad saying thank you. You know what I mean? Like, what?
Yeah,
no.
I don't know. What's the advantage to him to do? It's not like he's running for office.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, let's watch the last 3 minutes of this. But now you have a feel for what Kennedy's talking about when he's looking at these ads. It's important to know what these ads are, so this way you can appreciate where Kennedy's coming from when he's basically attacking her for making these ads. A lot about her. It is a lot of Kristi Noem.
And one thing, Senator, I think would be helpful to know is how effective that communications has been. That
Well, they were
overwhelmingly
effective in your name recognition. I mean, I personally just, I mean, to me, it puts the president in a terribly awkward spot. And I'm not saying you're not telling the truth. It's just hard for me to believe, knowing the president, as I do, that you said, Mr. President, here's some ads I've cut, and I'm going to spend $220 million running them, that he would have agreed to that. I don't think Russ Vogt at OMB would have agreed to that.
Now he's framing it as, after you got the ads, after you had them produced, did you show them to Trump and have him approve them for you to be spending $220 million pumping that out there? Which it's probably 200 million, because they probably spent 20 million making the thing. But you understand what I'm saying, like, and that's what he's basically framing it. And this is a pivotal thing here.
It's something we have to defend. I'm on the Appropriations Committee. My research shows that you did not bid them out. That you pick. In fact, one of the people you picked, the strategy group, Safe America Media, was a company formed 11 days before you picked them, and that the strategy group got most of the money, and the head of that is married to your former spokesperson.
Ooh. That's not good.
He's off though. He's not correct. The number that the strategy group got like under $300,000.
Oh,
They
yeah?
were the ones who actually filmed the ads and did like the production for the ads. The other company was the company that bought the time. You know what I mean? Like that bought the airtime, which is where all the money went.
Right.
And that's the company that was just for, like, that's shady to me. I'm not defending. I mean, that's shady. The company was formed 11 days. That is like the same shit that happened with the Inflation Reduction Act with Stacey Abrams and Jennifer Granholm and all the Democrats. So, like, she did the same fucking thing, in my opinion.
Right. Right. No, you have to it feels corrupt.
Right.
It feels corrupt.
Look, we all have friends who are qualified. I'm not quibbling with that. I'm just, it troubles me. A fifth to a quarter of $1 billion of taxpayer money when we're scratching for every penny and we're fighting over rescission packages. I just can't agree with Madam Secretary. Are you still running those ads?
No, Senator, I did not have anything to do with picking those contractors. I know politicals at the Department of Homeland Security did.
I understand. Are you
Career
still running
officials
those
followed the
ads?
competitive bid process for
Are you
that.
still running
Everything
those
was,
ads?
I think the ads are due to end here in March, I think within a week or
So
two.
they
I'm
are
not sure of the
still running?
update. The one that is running is focusing on angel families. Have you seen that? It is the one that's talking about this is our why. This is why we work every day.
Okay.
It's for the angel
I've gotta
families
move
and their
on.
victims that need to.
Support journalism.
So that was what that happened with her earlier this week. And then after that, apparently when Trump saw that, he was not happy. He was not happy at all. And Reuters made an exclusive report today that Trump disavowed and said that wasn't true what she said. That's not the way things happen here. Exclusive from Reuters, Trump tells Reuters he did not sign off on an ad campaign featuring Homeland Security Secretary. Washington, March 5th. President Donald Trump told Reuters on Thursday that he did not sign off on a $220 million border security advertising campaign featuring Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, who faced bipartisan criticism over the commercials during U.S. congressional hearings this week. Quote, "I never knew anything about it," the Republican president told Reuters in a phone interview. Shortly after his comments to Reuters, Trump posted a Truth Social that Noem would be replaced. That's pretty aggressive, right? Let's see if we can pull that up here. A little Truth Social post here. You're going to give us that? Or no, you're not going to give us that. All right. Noem, a top official overseeing Trump's aggressive immigration crackdown, faced scrutiny about the campaign while testifying before congressional panels on Tuesday and Wednesday. Lawmakers in both parties asked about the contract and process to select the companies for the campaign. The ads prominently featured Noem, including a scene of her on horseback at Mount Rushmore in the former South Dakota governor's home state. And one of the exchanges over the contracts, Kennedy, a Republican from Louisiana, asked if Noem if Trump had approved the commercials, and she said the president approved ahead of time. And he said the president approved ahead of time. He's spending $220 million running TV ads across the country, in which you were featured prominently. Yes, sir. He went through the legal process. He did it correctly. So, you say it was only $300,000. This new thing. It wasn't the 220 million.
No, the one company got like just a portion of it that did the filming and stuff like that, and that was the group that's the girl that used to be, what was her name? Damn it, the spokesperson before Levitt, I think, or I can't remember. Some spokesman, her husband runs the group that did the filming or something like that, and it's the same group that did. It's just weird. It was the same group that worked for her in South Dakota for her governor's campaign, and they ended up getting the subcontract. It's like, how did that happen?
Right.
You know, it's weird. Everything, to me, it all looks like something corrupt. You know what I mean? It does.
Yeah, well, it doesn't. It's not a good look. No. And Trump basically, he ran a bus over her, right? I mean, he said, "Noem said on Tuesday the contract was awarded through a competitive process. We saw all this. We saw this part of the interview." But the interesting thing is, and what they're saying is one of the companies, Safe American Media, was incorporated in Delaware a week before winning the contract. That company was awarded $143 million, federal records show. So that's the one, That's 143 million.
Well, that's the company though that contracted out to the company that no one knows, as far as I know, who owns this company.
Safe America Media.
Safe America Media. The company Strategy Group has been around for a long time, and it's owned by not Levitt. Is it Levitt? Or one? I can't remember her name. There was a girl. She was really good. She was a spokesperson who ended up leaving. Her husband. She left like a month ago. Her husband owns the Strategy Group, and I didn't know that she also used to work for Noom. She was part of Noom. Like Noom brought her over. Like who knows? Maybe they knew this was going to be a problem and left. That's why she left. Like, oh shit, this is going to be a problem.
Right.
I don't know.
It doesn't look good. It does not look good. We have to recognize that. And that's why shortly afterwards we have Senator Markwayne Mullin will assume the DHS Secretary President at the end of this month. March 31st, President Trump confirms. That was coming shortly after the Reuters story was this.
Statements that she made. And then most recently this week, her testimony on Capitol Hill, there were reports that her defense of her campaign, her ad campaign, $200 million in spending that prominently featured her sometimes on horseback.
Look at the picture they chose of her, like trying to make her look like a prima donna here. They pick a moment where she's like flicking her hair back to sort of make her look like a prima donna. She's not popular. This is like, you could see that the same way we could see when the knives were out for Jasmine Crockett. You could see here the knives being out for Kristi Noem. I'm not a massive Kristi Noem hater or fan. Like I don't feel like any particular way about Kristi Noem. I know a lot of people go after her for the whole thing that she shot a dog, and she put a dog down. And they thought that was heartless. If the dog was really sick, I don't understand why that's a heartless thing.
No, it wasn't. The dog wasn't really sick. The dog was like killing chickens and stuff like that. So,
is that what it was?
Yeah, the dog was doing what dogs do.
Oh, yeah. You would think you got a fence then for that, right? Yeah. That's what you would think. It's like instead of putting the dog down, you get a fence. Yeah. Anyway, I don't have any particularly strong pro or anti Kristi Noem vibe, personally, but I know when I'm seeing the knives come out, and your speculation is that Kennedy was set up to do this.
I think so. I think Trump found out about it. Someone said, like Russ Vought or someone else said, "Did you know what's going on with $220 million?" Because they're paying attention to stuff like this. Mm-hmm. Like maybe Elon or someone caught it in Doge or someone said something. He's like, "What? They did what?" And she's what? She's in ads riding around. What she wants to be president or something? That's probably what she wants to run for president. That's what this is. Yeah. What are you doing? And so he probably told Kennedy, "Yeah, no, this is what's going on." And
it's possible.
But I'm going to say, I like Markwayne Mullin. I like him in the Senate. I don't want him out of the Senate. This is, to me, a huge mistake. This makes me question everything about who is telling Trump to do this stuff. Like, is this purposely somebody sabotaging him? Like, is Susie Wiles really just got Bush's best interests at heart and sabotaging Trump to, you're taking a guy who is with Trump 99% of the time in the Senate, a MAGA guy, out of the Senate. And the Oklahoma governor is a globalist rhino. So he's going to pick a globalist rhino to be the senator. Just like John Curtis got picked for Utah to replace Mitt Romney. So we have basically John Curtis, who was a Democrat until 6 months before he was picked.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm very concerned about removing Mullin from the Senate. He is one of the few voices that we can count on in a basically a sea of neocon vipers from those 53. I mean, seriously. I mean, we have Mike Lee from Utah, and and Mullin was probably number 2. A lot of people think Hawley, but he seems to be mostly talk and no action. He's bound to disappoint more often than not. So yeah, I mean, it was Markwayne Mullin. I guess John Kennedy, but even he's better than John Kennedy as far as being MAGA aligned. He's much better. So I agree with you. I'm a little perplexed by this pick. You want to remove her, and just
you know who he should have picked? He should have picked Lisa Murkowski. That's who he should have picked. Get her the fuck out of the Senate. That's who he should have picked.
If she picked Lisa Murkowski, she would be like, making little passageways for aliens to come across the border.
That would give us an actual. The governor of Alaska would pick an actual America First Republican to take her fucking spot. That's what we want. That's what we need.
So you think the having one of our 50 be, because we're sort of trying to figure out, like, it's like if you pull up your pants to cover your hips and then your ankles start showing, and that's what it feels as if we're discussing here with respect to making sure we have a border czar who's going to be effective. I mean, we have Tom Homan there, but we have a border czar that's going to be effective without costing us valued voices in the Senate. And right now, with us desperate to get the Save America Act passed,
it's never going to get passed. I'm telling you right now, it's never going to get passed. And I'm telling you right now, if Trump endorses John Cornyn for Senate over Ken Paxton, we might as well start figuring out which country we're going to flee to when the Democrats take over, because this is basically over.
Yeah. So I don't know that he's going to endorse Cornyn. I'm hoping
that was leaked out earlier today, and then it supposedly got pulled back because there's rumors that Trump didn't know that people really don't like John Cornyn. It's like, John Cornyn don't like you. He said all this shit about you in 2020, all this other stuff. He wants open borders. His pitch, the reason he wants to get reelected is he wants fucking amnesty, just like he wanted gun control in 2022. What the fuck?
Jim is really black-pilled tonight.
I am.
He's really, really black-pilled tonight. I'm gonna let you rant, brother. I'm gonna let you rant because I agree with you. I don't like taking Mullin out of the Senate. Because you could have taken some other milquetoast person. Rubio was always a milquetoast type of person. You could have found a different milquetoast. I wouldn't go all the way to the extreme of taking a Susan Collins or a Murkowski. But you
don't want to take Susan Collins because Susan Collins would get replaced by a Democrat, by the Maine governor. But right. Murkowski, definitely. You could tell the Murkowski, just put it on or go on the news saying, listen, you hate what's going on. You say, I'll make you'll be in charge. You take care of it. You fix it. You do what you think is right. You be boss girl and take care of it. What you going to do? Say no? And then go, oh, well, I guess you're too chicken shit then.
So what you're actually saying is we should have picked someone who has a based governor and gone that way as far as appointing him instead of it being Mullin. You're probably right. You're probably right. That way we sort of put the onus on a DeSantis. Hey, fill in for Scott with a real badass MAGA dude. And that's the way to do it. That is the way to do it. Yeah, I'm not too excited about this either. I'm not too excited, and that's it's weird because the reason I'm not too excited about this promotion for Mullin is because I like Mullin. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like him, and that's why I feel like we need him in the Senate.
Supposedly, they're selling this as some kind of promotion for Kristi Noem too, that she's going to be in charge of some, I don't know, some new division of the War Department that's going to handle cartels or something.
We're getting there. Drop by Cruz says, can't stick around tonight. Just want to wish everyone a happy first die-anniversary of Jasmine Crockett being primary out. 2 years, my gosh. Let's give you the big horn for that. Long road, and suddenly after a week's time, you look 20 years younger. Thank you. Perhaps it is time you played Ace Attorney, Joe. Maybe now I'm ready to play video games. Branka's in here. Joe's talking about pumping Kristi Noem. What do you expect? Doe shut down most laundromats. What? Oh, I see what you said. Kennedy, did you hear the code glorious hair? Did you? No, you can't handle the glorious hair. Did you call the code glorious hair? Did you? Did you call the code glorious hair? She does have good hair. Just DM video of Kennedy talking with Trump. I actually have that queued up here also. Thank you, Kimmy. I appreciate you. The Branca Show, are you suggesting African migrants eat chickens? I don't know that's what he's suggesting. I will send him a link in case he's bored. Because when he's in here, I'm like, I don't know, maybe he's bored. I'll send him a link just in case he's bored. Because he has thought. He clearly has a lot of thoughts. And the last time he was here, I felt like I chased him off very rudely. Lady Logic was yelling at me that when I was drunk, I said something to him like, your voice is making me vomit or something like that. Not that I was saying his voice per se. but there was a moment there when I was deeply like turning green, where just hearing people talk was making me feel like I needed to hurl. It's like, and I wasn't talking, I was really talking to anyone who was speaking in a way I could hear. I was like, stop. Oh my God, everything's spinning. But he did leave like 30 seconds later. He's like, fine. All right, go to hell.
Not to mention, we just found out today, I think it was, that the Senator Steve Daines from Montana waited until 1 hour before the deadline to file, to run, expired, to say, yeah, you know what, I'm not going to run. But he already had the guy he wants to take his place file the paperwork immediately when he announced, so no one else could file. So that's the only guy on the ballot for a Republican to run for Montana Senate. So, and I have nothing, I don't know nothing about the guy, but to me, it's all just shady, greasy, fucking establishment
That is shady.
shit.
That's very shady. That's very, very shady. Like Thune wants Trump to endorse Cornyn and have Paxton withdraw from the Texas race. You know, Paxton actually put out a tweet today. Someone tagged me on this.
Like he did like a Kobayashi Maru. It's a no-win situation for them.
He did do a Kobayashi Maru. You have that? Do you have that copy of that tweet?
I get it.
Yeah, he sent out a tweet today, basically trying to show just how America first he is. That he was willing to fall on his own sword to get the Save America Act passed. That was actually a legendary move. That if you pull that up, I'll
get it. 1 second. There's a whole story about it too.
Yeah,
that someone wrote, but let me find the tweet.
My biggest complaint about Noem is she's rumored to have a tryst with Corey Lewandowski, of all the people in the world. Ew, yucky. Yeah, I heard about that. I don't understand that either, but I don't know. Proposed, Rhino Senator Marco Rubio's body was possessed by the spirit of Genghis Khan prior to the Secretary of State appointment. Discussed. Do you think that there's a possession? Do you think there's a possession?
I hear somebody in the back.
Look who's popping in here. Do you think? Why do I hear an echo? Do you think there's a possession? Yeah. I'm gonna have to just wave at me when you're good. All right, you're good now. Hello.
Is it better?
Yeah, we're good now.
Okay.
Good now.
All right. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
It's a setting on my end. I forget to change when I join a group. Hey guys, how you doing?
Good.
Hey, good to see you, Andrew.
How you doing?
Okay. Now I have an echo because. All right. Okay, I fixed it. Hey, what's going on? Hey, Joe, you were fine the other night. I mean, you were shit-faced, but I didn't take any personal offense. Good. I just realized I'd been on the show for 3.5 hours, and I have a life. I had to go do shit the next day.
You actually missed like my best line of the night, which I was like, wow. I can sometimes when I'm drunk, I can be pretty funny. I joined into Camelot's stream. Nick Recato was there, so I joined in there and they made a comment about the beard.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I made some sort of comment to the effect that, you know, Nick Recato can't get rid of his beard because his beard is his wife. And, and I came up with that on the spot. I was like, that was good. Anyway, so so tell me, what are your thoughts about Mullin coming in place of Noem?
Well, I like Mullin a lot. I mean, he's clearly a very strong America First guy. I think he'll do a great job at DHS. When I heard he'd been picked, my default expectation was that because Oklahoma is so Republican, like Trump won every county in Oklahoma, all 3 elections, that there'd be a Republican governor appointing a reasonable replacement. But I'm hearing now from Jim that apparently the governor, whoever it is half a fag, and might appoint Jasmine Crockett to be the new senator.
He supports all types of trans and sports and all that stuff, and he's a globalist rhino.
Kevin Stitz.
It's a problem in many of these nominally super Republican states. There's room for this weird corruption. You mentioned Montana, right? We just had this moving of the cups game in Montana. The same thing happens in Utah. You think these states would be super Republican, but in fact, all the Republicans are super rhinos. I mean, they're really just progressive fascist Democrats who like go to Men's Warehouse and buy a Republican suit to wear.
Do you? So I mean, now I'm very curious about Kevin Stitt. You have me really legit concerned here that we're basically going to get like
we could get another John Curtis is what we're going to get, just like we got out of Utah when Mitt Romney decided to drop out.
And it's not like we have a lot of extra senators.
It's the problem is when you're trying to transition from like the Tea Party / neocons into MAGA. So now the Republican base that's entrenched there, they have name recognition where they keep getting reelected. So even when you have a MAGA, the swell of people getting into America First type of perspective, the folks who have name recognition and came in there under the Tea Party type of ideology still are entrenched in there, and their name recognition helps keep them there. And then they end up bringing up other folks who think like they do, as opposed to, looking out for American interests. And it's a problem because it's very hard to just yank them out of there, and especially when you're talking about a state which is so deeply red, when you have a more purplish type of state. So in that case, well, they sometimes just lose because the Democrat beats them, and then you can get America First person to come in there and beat them. That's why getting rid of a rhino can be so challenging, because their name recognition just keeps them entrenched in that role, and they're still not really working toward American interests. So they have a very globalist type of perspective.
The R is next to their name, right? So the casual Republican voter just votes down the ticket. They'll vote for the R guy.
Right.
They'll just vote for the name that's familiar to them.
The name that's familiar from the R. So they'll be like, oh, okay, I'll come back to Kevin Stitt. And I don't care if he's like, basically promoting, transing our kids and DEI policies. He's the Republican. He's a Republican, and he's a name I know. So yeah, it's a problem. It really is a problem. White pill, give Mullin some credit by accepting position. He already had the conversation with the governor. Mullin is smart too. That's true. That's possible. It's possible.
He's really smart, by the way.
Is he?
He's really smart in the way that matters. He's very good at making money.
Yeah.
You know what else he also is? He is the first Native American to ever serve in the Senate.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
That's a dig at Elizabeth Warren. Trump put that out.
All right.
Trump put that out. The first Native American that was ever elected to the Senate. Yeah,
that's pretty funny.
Oh, that's funny. All right, I get it.
Yeah, I got a couple of $10 chats in here. Those of you who are trying to keep track as to like what's happening with our count overall. So I actually got two of them. The first one came from Duck Fat saying, "It's the no mo for Corey glory hole ho show, yo." What? You can use these lyrics in your next rap video. 10% licensing fee, though, waived if performed this Saturday night. Oh, it's not going to be performed this Saturday night. But yeah, Uzalian says, how about this, Joe? We stopped picking random retards from the Senate government. We picked someone for this that has to deal with the border and FEMA. All she did was say, Tom, do your job. That is true. Tom, it seems as if like Tom is the one who shut down the border and she's running around basically, I don't know. I don't know what she was doing. Like I said, I didn't have a problem with her because she would at least tend to say the right things. You know what I'm saying? She never said anything that made me find her objectionable, but I definitely see where people look at her as being all about self-promotion. And I remember during lockdowns that she became like very instantly recognized because she was the one governor who did not support lockdowns, and everyone's like, wow, she's so based, so based. And then the next thing I know, she ended up saying something like basically like, no, trans is not so bad, and everyone was like, what?
Right. She wouldn't block the men and women's sports.
Yeah, like, oh, look,
like,
men need to play too.
Complicated question.
Yeah. Yes, that's why I was like, I'm like kind of mixed on her. And then obviously, when it comes time to kiss up to Trump, you're going to say everything you need to say. Again, I'm sort of very mixed on her.
I've got to ask, how many times do you see Tom Homan, when he's talking to the media, wearing a tactical plate vest with AR-15 mags in it? Like she would show up in costume.
Right.
It was like,
he wasn't
like a
cosplaying.
Halloween party. I'm an ICE agent costume that she would wear. And she's not there when violence is going down. It's
right.
It's nonsense.
Right. So you're saying that she was all about her self-promotion to your...
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Trump should accept Paxton's deal, but leverage it further. Tell the Senate he wants SAVE Act plus Paxton confirmed as AG in return for Cornyn endorsement. Ooh.
I have that tweet pulled up.
Yeah, we're gonna pull that up right in just another moment. It's the same in Ohio. DeWine replaced Vance with Kasich, Republican John Husted, a rhino laying in wait, pretending to be MAGA, just like a sleeper cell. It's horrible. It's hard. They're so nefarious, these people. So this is what Paxton put out today. This is, and in case you missed it yesterday, I was telling you all how he was. If you make it like a little bigger, that'd be cool. I was telling you how he's in a runoff now for his general election, for his primary spot, and he's trying to unseat the incumbent there, who's really a hardcore rhino, and in that race, his opponent threw $69 million at it. He threw $4 million at it. And it's the most expensive Senate race, they say, in history. Certainly Senate primary. Attorney General Ken Paxton put this out today. The Save America Act. If you're unfamiliar with Ken Paxton, by the way, he's district attorney from Texas for many years. He's had
Attorney General.
Thank you.
Attorney General.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for correcting me. Yeah, the Attorney General for... it says it right there in the. You would think my brain went short out like that. He's Attorney General for Texas for many years. He was the one who authored Texas v. Pennsylvania and tried going to the Supreme Court in 2020. He's started a number of litigations which seem very America first. He was embroiled in some level of potential scandal where he was ultimately exonerated from questions about some of his expenditures and relationships, but he was ultimately completely exonerated. And he seems like coming into this administration, I would have labeled him one of the 3 best attorney generals that we have in the country. I still like Andrew Bailey a little bit more than him, but he's pretty good at what he does. And this is what he's offering up when he's trying primary for the GOP nomination for Senate. The Save America Act is the most important bill the U.S. Senate could ever pass, and I'm committed to helping President Trump get it done. I would consider, and he wisely uses the word consider, but he says, I would consider dropping out of this race if Senate leadership agrees to lift the filibuster and passes the Save America Act. John Cornyn is a coward who has refused to support abolishing the filibuster to pass the bill. And if you're a fan of the show and you watch here religiously, you know that there's been all sorts of discussions about how the filibuster is the holdup in passing the Save America Act. And just to give you a quick overview as to how the sausage is made, it's not that you need 60 votes to pass. It's you need 60 votes to get to the vote, because you end up in endless debate, what's called the filibuster, and that filibuster can only be shut down by having a vote of 60 saying that we're knocking it out. Now, the Senate creates their own rules, and they could abolish that filibuster 60 vote rule in order to what's called invoking cloture. Invoking cloture means we're wrapping up and not having any more debate about this, and we're going to go to a vote. And they could invoke cloture with just 50 if they were so, or 51 if they were so inclined. If John Thune actually had any kind of cojones, and then they can go for a vote and basically tell the Democrats to suck it. But they don't want to do that. Instead, they have what's called a zombie filibuster, where you don't even have to talk. Normally, a filibuster means someone gets up there and it's just literally blah, 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 blah. They could be reading from Harry Potter, but they have to be talking about why it is that they're in favor of or against the bill, and they don't even have to be talking about the bill at all when they're doing it. And that's a tradition we've had in the Senate for 250 years or 235 years, until they said, you know what, you don't actually have to do the work of standing there. So that's why they call it a zombie filibuster. You just basically say we're filibustering, and that's it, without doing the work. So all they're asking of John Thune is not even just to abolish filibuster, make them go through the work of standing there. Have a standing filibuster, because everyone knows they'll just run out of strength after 2 days, a week, 2 weeks. No one's going to be able to stand up there anymore. They just get exhausted doing it. They're too lazy.
2 hours.
Yeah. So the point is that if we don't have the zombie filibuster, you actually force someone to stand up there. In that case, they'll be able to invoke cloture much faster, and you can get to a vote, get your 50 votes, and go forward. But John Thune, the GOP Senate Majority Leader, refuses to come forward and say that he's willing to create what's called a standing filibuster, meaning they have to stand up there and talk. So he's saying that now fake news, this is Ken Paxton still saying, now fake news reporters in the establishment are trying to destroy me with misinformation. The truth is clear. No one has been more loyal to Donald Trump than me. Fighting the stolen 2020 election, he did, in Texas versus Pennsylvania. Being in Mar-a-Lago when he announced his 2024 campaign, and standing with him in New York in the face of lawfare. For the good of our country and for the good of passing President Trump's agenda, I am determined to help him get this done. So that's his offer there. He's like, I'll drop out of the race. We're supposed to have a runoff here. I'll drop out and just give it over to Cornyn. Just pass this stinking Save America Act. That's, I'll tell you this much. At the very least, it's brilliant. It's politically savvy.
This is completely politically savvy, because also it puts Cornyn in a spot, because if Cornyn doesn't come out and say he supports this and will do it, all the people in Texas basically, it's like he wouldn't do the wasn't for the Save America Act. He wasn't willing.
It puts Trump in a spot. I mean, it's a power bottom move by Paxton, because when Paxton originally came out and said, "No, I'm not dropping out. I'm staying in. The people of Texas, they voted for me. They want me to be in this race." And Trump said, "Well, that was a bad move by him. I don't like that. I might have to go for the other guy now." In response to that is why Paxton released this. Listen, I'll drop out, Trump, if we get for America what America wants. So if that doesn't happen, if that deal's not acceptable to you, you're telling the American people you'll take Cornyn even if he F's you.
Yeah.
That's
and
a
Cornyn's
power
already
bottom
screwed
play.
him with the recess
Sure.
appointments. With the recess appointments, him and Thune fuck Trump. They were supposed to do recess appointments and they refused to do it.
And Paxton just made that explicit.
Yeah, it really was a very shrewd move on his part. It's really, really politically savvy. And in a worst case scenario, from Paxton's position, they don't take him up on it, and he just pretty much now wins he wins the runoff. It looks, this was such a great move by him. Now, you have to be. It's almost like you referenced the Kobayashi Maru, which is a Star Trek reference. That you were saying that the no-win scenario that comes from Star Trek, it actually is jettisoning the dilithium crystals, where he's basically like, this is my shot. I'm taking my shot right here. I'm offering this out here. You tell me, pick your poison here. Pick your poison. Is your poison me, or is your poison the Save America Act? And Cornyn, you shouldn't think that Cornyn is just another run-of-the-mill senator. Cornyn has great influence in the Senate. We know this because it was down to basically him or Thune to be the Senate Majority Leader, which means he's very popular there. If he was, because the Senate gets to choose, they all vote for it, and it was like they had a little election amongst themselves as to who's going to be the Majority Leader, and it was basically down to him or Thune. So he's one of the most popular senators amongst those 50 GOP members of the Senate.
Joe, I don't mean to interrupt, but another indication of the point you're making is that the GOP Senate campaign financing group spent over $100 per vote to get votes for Cornyn. Ken Paxton spent about $5 a vote to get votes for Ken Paxton. So that's the amount of resources the GOP Senate was willing to put behind their buddy Cornyn. Right.
Yeah, and what Andrew's pointing at here is that he wasn't using his own war chest. He went to Win Red, which is the global money churning machine of the Republican Party, and he's like, I need money here so I can win my election. And they were like, sure, here you go. Then it basically wrote him pretty much a blank check to try and keep him in there. So he is very beloved there, and if he's so beloved there, that he basically could get Thune to invoke the standing filibuster. So this was just a phenomenal move by Ken Paxton. It really was.
And now Trump gets to sit back and watch. All right, Cornyn, you've been challenged. You've been called out. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
And if he doesn't do anything, he looks like a giant pussy.
He does. And he probably loses the primary. Right? I mean,
he's probably going to lose the primary anyway. I mean, the people that voted for Wesley Hunt aren't going to vote for John Cornyn.
That's true. That's true, which is why he's already in a weak position. It's almost like if you're Cornyn, this is your way to stay in the Senate, right? I mean, this is it. And that's assuming he can beat Tallarico, right? Because I don't know that.
And actually, he's the one who's polling the worst against Tallarico is John Cornyn.
Yeah, because he's so hated because he's such a freaking rhino. So, you know, if you're John Cornyn and you're desperate to hold on to your seat, I think you have to basically take this deal, and then he can run in text under the thing of I got the Save America Act passed. You make a whole big
and I got to be honest, it would be worth it. I don't like Cornyn, but it would be worth it.
Yeah. You know, this is a massive bill. If we can actually make sure we have transparency in our elections, stop the whole mail-in ballot, make sure we have voter ID. This is, yeah, you're right. It's like the same way, like when I look back on Mitch McConnell's career, which sadly it's still ongoing, but when I look back at his career, I'm always going to remember how he borked out Garland. You know, how he basically said, oh, we're not going to, it's too close to elections. We're not going to, we're just not going to hold any vote on this. And as much as he was a terrible human being and a terrible senator, and he's an awful leader, and you know, I know that Sheol is waiting to swallow him up when his soul passes from the earthly domain. What we can remember about him positively is we never have to say Justice Garland, and that's because of Mitch McConnell. So too with Senator Cornyn, if he does end up accepting this deal and gets Thune to have a standing filibuster, so we can get get rid of the zombie filibuster and actually get the Save America Act passed, that will be something that will be part of his legacy. So, and frankly, it deserves to be Ken Paxton's legacy if in fact this deal is accepted.
And people need to understand, you know, our founders, they didn't create a democracy, right? Democracy is rule of the mob, is two wolves and a sheep deciding what to have for dinner. Our founders were terrified of democracy. They knew the passions of the mob, the evil that would result. They established a republic. We periodically get to elect leaders who make decisions on our behalf, and we hold them politically accountable by voting or devoting them on a regular basis, right? So congressmen every 2 years, presidents every 4 years, senators every 6 years. The effing federal judges are a different question. We can talk about on a different show, I guess. But the federal judges are not elected because they're not supposed to have any political authority, despite how they behave in the modern era. But the whole system of a republic breaks down if you don't have genuine, legitimate elections. If you don't have legitimate elections, the leaders are not actually being held accountable to the political will of the American people. You're living in a tyranny of whoever fixes the elections. That's not what our founders created.
100%. 100%. So, yeah, we really need it. We really need it passed, and I'm still hopeful it's going to pass. I haven't given up hope on it.
You were talking about the judiciary, Andrew. There was two rulings came out today, one in the 7th Circuit, one in the 9th Circuit appeals. Both lambasted the district judges for basically trying to create an imperial judiciary.
Yeah. I saw them. I'm going to cover them in shows tomorrow.
Good, because I don't understand all that legalese.
It's these unelected black robe, tyrannical, inferior federal district trial court judges, especially the ones appointed by Biden. Some of these judges appointed by Biden were confirmed to the bench with a lifetime appointment to the federal bench after Trump was elected, after he was elected, but before he was sworn in. A bunch of them were not born in America. They were born in foreign nations. And to the extent they've been naturalized citizens, some of them were only naturalized like 4 years before they got their judicial appointment. These are not cultural Americans. These are foreigners. These are foreigners who have lifetime appointments to the federal bench. It's unbelievable. And they act like maniacs because there's no accountability. They know Trump doesn't have 67 votes in the Senate to impeach them, so they do whatever the F they want. And they know it takes weeks or months for the Court of Appeals to deal with it, and then weeks or months after that for the Supreme Court to deal with it. In fact, I just read an opinion I think it was Sotomayor was writing another dissent, another losing argument in the Supreme Court. But she was very upset. She's like, why are we on the Supreme Court? Why are we using our emergency docket so much these days? You dumb bitch. You're using the emergency docket so much because the district trial court judges have lost their effing minds. And they're, they're issuing these preliminary injunctions, which by statutory definition are supposed to be exceptional remedies, almost never granted. And they come out of machine guns when they're directed against Trump. So of course the appellate courts and the Supreme Court are drowning in having to deal with these cases in the emergency docket. It's madness because of the lunatics we've appointed to the federal bench.
And there's no remedy for it. There's nothing in the Constitution which is a real remedy for it short of impeachment. And as you point out, you're never going to have 67 votes.
Oh, I didn't say never. I said we don't.
Okay.
I'm a positive thinker.
Has anyone been convicted by the Senate of impeachment?
Judges?
Anyone?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They've been convicted without actually engaging in like thievery.
Well, I mean, what do you count as thievery?
I mean, like so literally like thievery.
We've had about 15 federal judges that have been impeached and removed from the bench in our history.
When's the last time?
Most of them for things like bribery.
Yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I meant.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time. But of course, impeachment for political purposes is perfectly legitimate. I mean, that's what they tried to do to Trump.
Yeah. So anyway, getting back to Kristi Noem. So apparently she's going to have a new role. She's not just being shunted into the middle of nowhere. She's going to have a new role.
It's the middle of nowhere.
We're going to talk a little bit. We need to talk about this. So let me share her new role here.
News. This comes a day after a difficult couple of days on Capitol Hill in both the House and the Senate for Kristi Noem, the Homeland Security Secretary. She is being replaced. Senator Markwayne Mullin is now going to take over her job. The president making the announcement on Truth Social just a short time ago. He writes, quote, "I am pleased to announce that the highly respected United States Senator from the great state of Oklahoma, Markwayne Mullin, will become the United States Secretary of Homeland Security effective March 31st of this month."
Is that Kristi Noem?
The current secretary.
I don't know who the heck that is.
It's before the Botox.
Okay, I was gonna say that don't look like Kristi.
Yeah, the face looks different, right? It looks more human.
Said numerous and spectacular results, especially on the border. Will be moving to be special envoy for the Shield of the Americas.
Special envoy for the Shield of the Americas.
Which is a new.
She'll come out in a Wonder Woman outfit.
Oh, it's legitimately S.H.I.E.L.D. from fucking Captain America. Yeah.
So this is what I wanted to do with you. I wanted to speculate with you gentlemen exactly what she will be doing as special envoy for the Shield of Americas. Like, what do you envision that? Because I literally was picturing exactly what you just said. That they're going to give her a golden lasso and the red boots, and she'll just go running out there.
Right? Trump was probably like, "Listen, you're either fired or you wear a bikini from now on."
I'm just saying. I don't know. I don't know what exactly. She's with this. I'm just trying to think what it could mean. Just special envoy for the Shield of Americas. Does this mean?
Did you see Marco Rubio congratulate her? he posted on X. "Oh, congratulations to Kristi Noem being given an utterly pointless job for a bimbo." He didn't use those words, but that was definitely the tone.
I didn't see that. Do you have that there? Can you pull that up, Jim?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh my God.
I'll try to
funny.
find it for you. Here,
Keep
talking for your show.
Yeah,
I'll try to find it.
Yeah, I'll catch up on a few. I just can't figure out what this. Maybe it means she's gonna do like what Kamala Harris did, like go down to Central America and say, "Don't come."
Get on her knees.
Which don't come, don't. Which if she does it in a Wonder Woman costume, it'll probably be more effective. So I don't know, but this does seem like the most made up job in the world. This seems like the most made up job in the world.
I just sent you a link in the private chat.
Thank you, brother.
Studio chat.
Thank you. Branca Joe wasn't aware of your "it's always the same map" phrase. Please send him and Jim a mug of. I will take one as well. What does that mean? It's always the same map. Oh, that's about like the IQ. Is that the IQ thing?
Right.
Yeah.
Joe, I can't tell you how many of those mugs I've sold. I couldn't believe it. I might buy another motorcycle.
Nice. Irene RM said, just want to drop in and insult Tucker Alabas bin Muhammad for his recent commentary in support of the enemy of the United States. Well done. Kay Bean saying, Joe assisted Ghislaine Maxwell's defense team during her trial. This is a very timely comment. I appreciate you weighing in. Thank you for the generous super chat. This is technically could be something that's not fully defamation, because I did basically ask them about their strategy, and I said, wouldn't this strategy be a lot more sound to go forward with this? I don't remember what it was, and I did ask one member of her defense team, and the reason I asked that question was because, I know what it was. I'm thinking back now 4 years, but I think I was basically saying something to the effect of that the government is refusing to share with you names of the people who are on the plane, and they're blocking stuff out. Clearly they're trying to hide something. And my objective was that I wanted her defense team to twist the government's arm into releasing the real names of people there. So if you want to get technical, I guess technically I was giving them advice I knew they would never take, but basically saying if they do take it, then America wins, because frankly, much more important than getting a conviction of evil Ghislaine Maxwell is America learning what the hell is happening with respect to these predators who harmed all those poor little girls. So if you look at that as me helping the defense, it's technically accurate, but they did not take me up on it. So there you go. This is what let you share with me here. I gotta pull up the private chat. Where is the? It's not here.
I put something in a private chat too.
All right. So this is what this was. You said this was Rubio. Rubio's congratulations about her becoming the shield of the Americans. This is very funny. I look forward to working with Kristi Noem as special envoy for the Shield America as our new security initiative comprised of 13 countries. Kristi has achieved incredible results as Secretary of Homeland Security and will be a tremendous asset in our effort to promote security and prosperity in the Western Hemisphere.
The only thing missing is he didn't call her Kristi Hone.
Yeah. Well, that's nice of him. That was very nice of him to. But there were more clips here that I wanted to share with you before we move on from this story. This one we already covered. Apologize for that. Here's Chuck Schumer basically saying it's not enough. It's not enough. Even though one of the things they were screaming at, because they're not refusing to fund DHS.
The president has fired Kristi Noem. Good riddance. But the problems at this agency, ICE, transcend any one person. The rot is deep.
This is why we need to get rid of the filibuster. It's like
he's really transforming into that Jewish guy from the Godfather movie down in Cuba. What was that guy's name?
Yes.
he's really turning into that guy. If he says, Michael, your
Is it
father and I
Meyer?
worked together. I think it is.
Meyer?
Michael, your father and I.
Hyman Roth.
We ran
Hyman Roth,
trucks
yes.
of Canadian whiskey. We ran trucks together during Prohibition, Michael.
But I mean, we're still not funding DHS, and one of the holdups was Kristi Noem. So is he going to change that? Is he going to necessarily, let's fund DHS? No. Now he's just coming up with new crap.
The president has to end the violence and rein in ICE.
What would you need to confirm Senator Mullin to this position? Do you need assurances on immigration?
This is a problem of policy, not personnel. The rot is deep. No one person can straighten this up until the president changes the whole agency, stops the violence, and
I have an idea.
Yeah.
Why don't we disband DHS?
And thereby
And the TSA and all that. Goodbye.
Yeah. So, and you're saying that facetiously, I assume.
No, I'm like, I mean, we created this monster after 9/11, and we could start first off with the Patriot Act. Get rid of that.
Okay. Now you're singing my song. Go on.
And then just okay, it's the right. Yeah, we got to get rid of this agency. It's too big. It's too wheelie. It needs to go back to the way it was before.
We could just make the whole thing a bounty system.
Yeah, that would work. Privateers.
$10,000 an illegal deported. I mean, you'd have all the rednecks going.
Maybe going around. Yeah, maybe going around guns.
You'd have pickup trucks racing everywhere, lifted trucks.
You're gonna have a lot of Ahmaud Arbery situations.
Oh my God! One of your members is calling me a sexist pig. I can't believe it.
You?
I know. I love sex. I don't know why they say that.
That is crazy. Yeah, look at that. You are being called that. He's not. He's really not.
They spelled capitalist wrong.
What do you think about his selection of Senator Mullin to lead this?
I told you, this is not an issue of personnel. It's an issue of policy. The rod is way deep down. It transcends anyone.
It's in your colon.
Mr. Leader, some Democrats are
The
saying
policy of enforcing the law?
Yeah, no, it's terrible. It's terrible.
for your negotiations on
That's up to them. They've been stonewalling us.
But you're in the
They've been stonewalling.
Stop. I'm on a roll. Okay. I'm sorry. She looked like Jim when I give him like a look when I'm in the middle of a rant and he just cuts me off. That was the same moment right there, right?
I have to say too, I'd be really offended by that sexist comment, except a woman made it.
They have to change them. We have to change them by legislation, because any one person, I don't trust any one person being in charge of this agency as long as Trump is president, given the policies he's espoused, given how ICE has been structured.
All right, shut up.
So now he wants a committee to be in charge?
I don't know. He doesn't know what the hell he wants. He just wants to be obstructionist. He doesn't have any actual solutions here. I got a couple of rants I got to pull up here. Real Patriot Party says, Andrew, regarding Save America, more people need to understand what self-defense means. They don't. A good start may be to get the trans women to get hard and learn something. Just an idea.
Okay. All right. Fair enough, I guess.
Real Patriots Party says, Joe, you can't jettison the dilithium crystals. They're a stable form of power conversion. You can, however, jettison the warp core in case of imminent implosion. Back to the books, amateur, LOL. And clearly you missed the episode Galileo 7, where at the end of the episode, when they're running out of steam and they want to leave a trail behind, they actually jettison their fuel. They don't jettison. You're correct in that. They don't jettison their warp core. They jettison their fuel, I believe, as I recall. But Dan Vish says, not all Jews are okay. Will demolishing Al-Aqsa to build the third temple. This agenda is a suicide mission, and that Jesus is the answer. I am going to get there. We're getting there. I'm almost done with Kristi Noem. I was having more fun with Kristi Noem than I anticipated, but we're definitely getting to Tucker Carlson versus
a lot of guys said
Joe, aren't you married? Aren't you married? You were having more fun with Kristi Noem than you anticipated.
I didn't realize what was coming out of my mouth there. So here's Markwayne Mullin weighing in on the news of the day.
Has faced. Is there any learning lessons that you have picked up from Noem and the ways in which you want to lead the agency a little bit differently?
Kristi is a friend, and I haven't had time to call Kristi yet. And
a friend with benefits.
Our families are friends. She was tasked to do a very difficult job, and I think she has performed the best she can do underneath the circumstances. Is there always lessons to be learned? Listen, my wife and I, we have over the years we have been fortunate enough to purchase companies and grow our companies, and every day there's something you can do better. And so I think there's an opportunity to build off successes. And there's also opportunities to build off things that maybe didn't go quite as planned. So,
Senator, you're looking at some of the criticism that.
I'll tell you this much: I do think that she made a mistake at her hearing, and not in claiming that Trump, gave the green lit it, and that maybe she was like, look, we thought the messaging was was something that was productive and proved to be productive. But if people took it as if it was too self-promotional, that's on me. I accept responsibility for that. But the overall project was what Trump was. It conformed what Trump's objective was. And in that way, she's taking accountability for what she did with respect to that, and not putting Trump in a position where he's basically got to call her out as being full of crap. You know, like that's how you handle the situation a lot better than she did. I think that she really did a pretty poor job in dealing with that. But there were other problems there, allegedly other problems with respect to Kristi Noem besides for that advertising campaign. This is here's a claim coming from Ari Fleischer about the firing and other bases besides the ad campaign.
Here now with a reaction, Ari Fleischer, Fox News contributor, former White House press secretary. Ari, you've seen a lot of firings in your time in D.C. Did this surprise you? I mean, there's a lot of nasty stuff, Ice Barbie and all that. But what was the thing that really pushed this over the edge in your mind?
Well, I think it was two things, Laura. Number one, immigration was the president's biggest winning issue going into the campaign, and he didn't want to see it turning into a losing issue. And the street confrontations, all the violence on the streets, I think it just set a patina that made the president start to see he's losing support on an issue where he needs a Department of Homeland Security that helps him to gain back that support. But the second, I have a source who has told me that when the White House heard about the shooting of Alex Preedy, they were informed by Department of Homeland Security officials that it was an attempted assassination. It was a would-be murder. And the White House used language that reflected what they were told by Homeland Security. And then they saw the video and they felt they got bad information from Homeland Security, and they echoed that bad information. So in a
made them look bad
today, one of the White House officials said one of the reasons they let her go was because of what happened in Minnesota, and that put a fine point on what happened. They didn't trust the information they were getting from Homeland Security.
So that's a problem. That's a serious problem, and that likely is what got. That's why I said Alex Preedy probably was where things started really going awry for her from the perspective of Trump having confidence in her, because she basically made his administration look bad by giving that bad information. But I need to sort of break away from this story really quick with breaking news for you. I was planning in one of the many stories I was hoping to cover tonight to share with you a post from Mike Johnson, where after Tony Gonzalez, many of you know that Tony Gonzalez is involved in a is in a runoff for his seat in Texas District 23, where he's running against AK guy Brandon Herrera, very popular YouTuber who has my support as well as support of pretty much everyone in MAGA to unseat
full
Tony
disclosure,
Gonzalez.
Brandon's a friend of mine, and I've contributed to his campaign.
Okay. Yeah, no. So like I said, everyone you follow and like probably is a big supporter of Brandon Herrera, including all three of us sitting here on this panel. And Tony Gonzalez is a terrible rhino. So this is potentially a massive upgrade that we're looking at. Mike Johnson said earlier today, Tony Gonzalez admitted that woman who set herself on fire, allegedly set herself on fire, unless she was harmed by someone, but has been ruled a suicide by fire, that he did indeed have an affair with her. After he made that admission, Mike's Speaker Mike Johnson, along with 33 other members of the House, issued a joint statement that I planned on sharing with you, but I'm not going to, as you'll see why in a moment. But they issued a joint statement basically saying how there's a whole ethics investigation into his conduct and that they were urging him to drop out of his race against Brandon Herrera. The reason I'm not sharing that with you is because that we have an update that came within the last 20 minutes or so, which is really awesome news that I'm just wanted to share with all of you here live, as Jim shared it with me. And that's not the right post that I had here. I apologize. This is the one I wanted. Open link. This is phenomenal news for all of you. Representative Tony Gonzalez drops out of the House runoff race after admitting affair with the aide. So the pressure finally has succeeded in getting us rid of Tony Gonzalez, which means that Brandon Herrera will be the GOP nominee. We wish him Godspeed in the general election this coming November, that he should succeed in holding on to that seat for the Republicans. I think he probably has I would think, very high odds of actually winning the general election there.
I think it's like a 20+ Republican district, so he should be
the
good.
real
Brandon
fight
is a congressman now.
Yeah.
Or will
Basically,
be.
yeah, Brandon Herrera is almost certainly going to be congressman for District 23 from Texas, as Republican Representative Tony Gonzalez dropped his reelection bid for his Texas congressional district on Tuesday after admitting to an affair with staffer who later died by suicide. Quote, after deep reflection and with the support of my loving family, I decided not to seek reelection while serving out the rest of this Congress with the same commitment I've always had to my district. Yeah, right. Or to his constituents, to select constituents who work underneath him. Congress with Gonzalez sent a statement on X that did not directly mention the scandal that has dogged the 3-term congressman in recent weeks. Gonzalez was set to face off against hard-right gun activist Brandon Herrera in a GOP primary runoff in May. Herrera will now face Democrat Katie Padilla-Stout in November. The 23rd congressional district, which covers a large swath of the U.S.-Mexico border and West Texas, heavily favors Republicans. Despite calls from Democrats and Republicans to resign, Gonzalez had previously insisted he would not resign or drop out of the race, but one day after the House Ethics Committee opened an investigation and he admitted to the affair, House Speaker Mike Johnson and other members of Republican leadership called on him to drop his reelection bid. And I'll tell you right now, I posted out there, this is, to my mind, the best thing Mike Johnson has done since he became Speaker.
Well, it should be the minimum standard, but yes, I agree. It's the best thing he's done. By the way, the only reason Gonzalez conceded to the affair is that the woman who set herself on fire and ended herself was pregnant with his child. I mean, we had the DNA. Well, that's my understanding.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't.
And the husband's very upset. He's been basically waiting to just drop the hammer.
Yeah, I did not realize that she was pregnant with his child.
I could be wrong about that, so I don't want to get Joe in trouble on his
too.
channel, but that's my understanding.
I've read that too. I think
all right.
That might be why she lit herself on fire, or maybe she didn't. I don't know. Maybe she didn't light herself on fire. Maybe there needs to be an investigation. Who knows?
Not gonna lie, it's kind of hot, actually.
Yeah.
Really? That's where you want to go with this? Really?
I can't help myself, Joe.
Quote, we have encouraged him to address these very serious allegations directly with his constituents and his colleagues. In the meantime, leadership has asked Congressman Gonzalez to withdraw from his race for re-election. House GOP leadership said Thursday Gonzalez had previously denied the affair with Regina Santos Aviles, a former aide who died in September after lighting herself on fire. According to police report released last month in Uvalde, Texas, Santos Aviles was conscious when police arrived that night and told officers, "My God, I don't want to die." Horrible. Horrible. So apparently, if she didn't say anything like this was,
They
an
have
attack.
the phone. They have the phone messages. I mean, I shouldn't say that.
If she was conscious, that makes you think it probably was self-deletion, right? Because otherwise, she would have been like, "These two men did this to me," or whatever, right? You would think.
You would think.
You would
It was
think.
Tony.
It was Tony.
It was Tony in the library with a gallon of gasoline and a Zippo lighter.
Santos Aviles is married and has a son. Gonzalez is married and is the father of 6 children. They're all
my God.
They're all very proud of their dad. Text between the pair that were viewed by CBS News showed Santos Aviles told Gonzalez this is going too far, boss, after he asked for a sexy pic in 2024. Another text exchange with a coworker that was viewed by CBS News, Santos Aviles wrote, "I had an affair with boss." A day after his primary with Herrera, Gonzalez acknowledged the affair in an interview with a conservative talk show host. The congressman called it a mistake and a lapse in judgment, but insisted the controversy surrounding the affair was about power and money. Yeah, well, apparently now he's gone. So that is awesome news. And we certainly wish Brandon Herrera well, because dude is he's based as anything, right? The guy's awesome. So maybe we should raised him up instead of Markwayne Mullin. You know, we have room to spare in the house, much more so than the.
No, we don't. The house is tight, man.
Not much. Yeah.
I'm saying, as far as having based voices, it's more influential in the Senate than it is in the House. So, you shared with me. So Ashley Turner said White House X just posted and it's fire. Is that what you shared with me in private chat there?
I think that's what she's referring to. I just happen to see it too.
So let me pull this up here.
I think there's probably music on it. I didn't listen, but it looks like the kind of video where there's music. So when I co-streamed your Purim show,
Purim.
Purim, sorry.
There's no Y in it. I'm saying it's not pure. It's like poor, just like poor. Purim. Yeah,
it's fine. Fine, Joe. Calm down. YouTube demonetized my video because you played like 30 seconds of music in it. So
did they? Mine didn't get demonetized.
Yeah, well, they got me. YouTube's mad at me at the moment.
No, can't imagine why. All right, well, let's see if we can get this thing through or not. Let's see what we got here.
Wake up, Daddy son.
Welcome home, son.
Strength and honor.
Strength and honor.
What will you do without freedom?
Mavericks inbound.
You can't conceive of what I'm capable of.
Finishing this fight.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
We're here to fight for truth and justice in the American.
They got Les Grossman in there with this whole. That's great. One of my favorite characters.
Wait, I am the danger. Time to find out.
Maximum effort.
Here it comes. Now end this.
Flawless victory.
I love our president. I love him. Is there any point to it? I guess you can say we're trying to gear folks up for war and to support the Iranian war, the conflict with Iran. Literally, I mean, just ask yourself, what other person on the planet would become president, be able to be taken seriously by world leaders, and still be okay with dropping this?
It's amazing. I mean, the first president I voted for was Reagan. So I've been around a hot minute. And this is so over the top pro-American than you've ever seen from any other president, even from a Reagan. It's glorious. I love it.
No, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. But the point I was really getting at was just the mix of different pop culture references from Saul Goodman to Les Grossman and the flawless victory references back to 80s to Mortal Kombat. This was just
it suggests a youthful energy that's very encouraging for the future of the nation.
It's an interesting because it's a youthful energy, which is also nostalgic in the references that it makes.
Right.
So yeah, there's a certain genius there. So God bless that man. But he's awesome. And this is sort of thing that, like, I wouldn't be able to explain to my kids why it is I enjoy him as much as I do. But these are the good old days, okay? We tend to not enjoy the good old days. These are the good old days. You will look back at this and miss this. I'm telling you, if you should, have a long and healthy life, you will look back and miss these days because President Trump is just amazing. I'm concerned the president's actions to remove Kristi is akin to those who apologize when called a racist. They never satisfied as the left. Schumer epitomizes these people. And I get what you're saying here, but I don't think he's doing it as a reaction to the left. The left looks at it as like, ha, we got rid of her. I think that when you look at everything that was happening here, her miscues that happened with respect to that campaign ad, her miscues with respect to Alex Preddy and how she framed that, and the guidance that she gave the White House, a lack of trust, her self-promotion, that these are all things that were not reflecting well on the administration. And that's why she's gone. So the left obviously is going to frame this as a win for themselves. Like, yeah, we got rid of Kristi Noem. But anyone who thinks about it for 30 seconds recognizes that ultimately the decision was Trump's, and that if he did it, it's not because he was caving to the left. He never caves to them. It's a matter of, you didn't make me look good, and I don't like that. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. You make me look bad. If you make me look bad, I can't have that. People are not excited about the deportation effort, and they should be, because this is something that's wildly popular, and the way you're going about it is not encouraging people. When people hear Tom Homan speak, they get all enthused. When they hear you speak, they don't, and that's a reality.
And people need to understand that Trump's never held a political office except for president of the United States, right? So his whole career was as a business executive, the chief executive of billion-dollar enterprises. And if you work immediately under the chief executive of a billion-dollar enterprise, your job is to make him look good, or at least not to make him look bad. And that would be Trump's perspective. If he has an immediate subordinate who's making him look bad, you are done.
And yet people ask about Pam Bondi. This is why so many people keep coming after him about Pam Bondi, because we feel like that's going to help maybe push the needle on him actually replacing her.
The trouble is, how do you replace people? How do you replace
They're not going to
people
get confirmed.
when you
You're not going to get anybody
confirmation
confirmed. They
of the
can't get
Senate?
any of the U.S. attorneys confirmed. They can't get judges confirmed. They can't get anybody confirmed. So that's a problem. And I still think my opinion about maybe there's somebody on the inside that's pushing Trump to do some things, that is giving him advice that's not the best advice, maybe, Susie Wiles. That's why Pam Bondi ain't going anywhere, because they're best friends.
Yeah. Well, here's the before I completely close out the Kristi Noem thing, I meant to share one thing that actually Kim brought up as far as John Kennedy's comments about Markwayne Mullin coming in as the replacement, and his conversation with Trump about that, which was actually kind of amusing. So let's just give you that real quick.
The night of the hearing.
Oh, sorry. Having serious mouse issues. Sorry about that.
The president, when he called me Tuesday night, the night of the hearing, when he was mad as a murder hornet, he asked me what I thought about Mark Twain, and I said, A, I like him. B, he's very smart. C, he's a very good businessman. And D, if I didn't believe the two things I just told you, I'd lie to you, because Mark Twain would whip my ass. The president, when he called me.
So there you go. That was his comments on that, which is kind of funny. He does look like he's fit as an ox. Be interesting to see, like Brandon Herrera is another guy who's fit as an ox. He looks like someone who crushes bears with his palms.
Brandon Herrera has magnificent hair. He has the male version of Kristi Noem hair.
That's what this is.
Luxurious.
She goes out, he comes in. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that is what it is. All right. Well, I mentioned, I want to get into it now because we're already an hour 40 minutes in, that this issue with respect to Tucker Carlson and his claims about the Iranian war and why we're there. So I wanted to share with you Tucker Carlson's comments, because he has a new theory about why we're at war with Iran and who's to blame for this. And here's a little clip from him on this.
Can I guess?
Who do you think? Who do you think is behind it?
Can I guess who he thinks is behind it?
Yeah.
Oh, I think he thinks it's Israel.
Not exactly.
Okay.
So how exactly did the IDF, the Israel Defense Forces, a military that...
Not exactly. You'll see.
The U.S. taxpayer pays for, that lots of wealthy Americans send money to friends of the IDF. How did all these guys wind up wearing patches suggesting the point of this war was the destruction of one of the holiest places in Islam?
Okay.
And the rebuilding of a temple that is totally anathema to Christianity. Like, how did this happen? Well, there are a lot of ways it happened. The main way it happened is because no one in the United States noticed, because it's such a secular place. And as noted, we have eyes but can't see and ears and can't hear. But this has been going on a long time in public through, in part, the efforts of a group called Habad, Chabad. And you may know people who give money to Habad or run to Habad, super nice people.
And by the way, the patches he's referring to here are, I don't know why I'm having such a ridiculous problem with my mouse here. There are these patches over here, and I'll tell you it does say in Hebrew if I ever get my mouse to move where it needs to go. But these, oh my gosh, I'll pull up in a minute when I get this thing straight.
Engaged in all kinds of charitable activities, drug rehab. There's a lot about Habad that's really good. But what is Habad exactly? Well, Habad, you can look it up, is a very old organization, about 250 years old. And it's a branch of Hasidic Judaism. It's an organization that was overseen for many years by a guy called Rabbi Menachem Schneerson, who was famously in Brooklyn, considered the Messiah by some of his followers, who was a friend of presidents, or certainly someone presidents visited. He was a very powerful man in the Orthodox and the Hasidic community. And he was the overseer of Habad, which predated him and outlasted him, but he was its most visible ambassador. And Habad has been pushing in a pretty subtle way, unless you look carefully.
Not subtle.
For the reconstruction of the Third Temple.
Not
and
subtle.
It seems like, from the reading we did recently, that those patches actually came from Habad. In any case, Habad is pushing for the building of the Third Temple.
True. They are pushing for the building of the Third Temple. That is true. That is true. They are pushing for the building of the Third Temple. So I will enlighten you all about Chabad and who and what they are. I've talked a little bit about them on this show in the past. I'm really having a serious mouse issue, which is frustrating.
That came out. We talked about this. Was it last Thursday or was it Tuesday night?
I feel like I'm talking about them more and more. Yeah. Okay. So
Hey, Joe,
yeah,
I
you gotta get bust out here.
I do have to bust out. Sorry, I know it looks like I'm ejecting just when you're talking about
No,
Chabad.
No, that's okay. But, I appreciate you popping in here.
But I only have so much time. So, hey, it was great being here. I really enjoyed it. Jim, it was great seeing you again. Joe, thanks for having me on.
Thank you, brother.
Entire community, including all the people insulting my sex life about my wife. It was fun, and I'll see you all again soon. Take care.
Looking forward. Thank you, brother.
Bye-bye.
Take care. So he's talking about Chabad here, and what I wanted to just explain to you, and I'm really having such an annoying issue with my mouse, I can't even begin to describe it to you. So what he's describing here is that Chabad is a organization that's associated with Lubavitch Hasidim. So brief overview, okay? I am not a Hasidic Jew, or we would say Hasidic. They use an H when they put it in English. Hasidic Jews are a particular type of Jew, which is another type of Orthodox Jew. They are, when I say Orthodox, I'm referring to people who only eat kosher, observe Sabbath, and also observe various marital laws that are incumbent upon Jews by Torah. So they are Orthodox Jews, and they're part of the Hasidic movement, which started with the Baal Shem Tov in the 1600s. And he basically brought an approach to Judaism which was different from that, we were always studying Torah and Talmud, and that was like the focus. And he made much more of a focus about prayer and less about studying and getting really deep in your understanding of Torah, and made a big deal about forging a strong connection with your own rabbi, and made that the fixation of Torah. He actually was opposed by a brilliant sage who was referred to as the Vilna Gaon, who thought that what the Baal Shem Tov was referred to also as the Best, that they were opposing forces in Orthodox Jewry, and Hasidism flourished in Eastern Europe and Poland and Hungary and in those different Jewish communities there, and it started developing different sects, S-E-C-T, of Hasidism. One sect that grew out, so you might have heard of Satmar, Neturei Karta that you hear is always very anti-Israel. They're a division from Satmar. So one sect was Lubavitch. And today Lubavitch is probably the largest Hasidic sect. They are very identifiable when you see them. One of the things about Hasidic Jews is they don't change the way they dress. That's where you see all the people with the long black robes and the white socks or in the curly locks. Those are Hasidic Jews. They're very into conserving basically the way Polish Jews dressed in the 17th century. So that's why they're very easily identifiable. In contrast to folks like me, so they don't shave. And the Lubavitch Jews will never shave. They don't believe in using electric razor. They feel like as if that's a Torah prohibition, which other Orthodox Jews who are not Hasidic, like myself, clearly we recognize that you're allowed to use an electric razor. So electric shaver. So that's your two divisions. Then by analogy, you can basically look at it as like Protestants versus Catholics. So too you have Hasidic Jews versus non-Hasidic Jews. And amongst the Hasidic Jews, there are different sects, much as you have different types of Catholics or different types of Protestants, so too there are different sects. One sect that is the biggest sect in the world is Lubavitch. The thing about Lubavitch is that they are there are two things that predominate their approach to Judaism. One is that they're very into Jewish outreach, meaning they try and find irreligious Jews and encourage them to recognize the faith and come back to the faith. The last main rabbi, because every sect has its own head rabbi. This is the rabbi that everyone's supposed to look up to and revere. The last one usually is passed like a family dynasty, father to son to son to son to son to son. Sometimes it'll go to a son-in-law in certain circumstances. In the 1980s into the 1990s, Rabbi Menachem Schneerson was known as the Rebbe. He died and didn't really have an heir apparent. And he was very popular, and he helped spread and encourage his adherents to basically form communities throughout the world and basically spread out. That's why I joke that they're like McDonald's. He basically was like, if you can set up a synagogue in any little town and try and find Jews who basically don't even recognize or remember that they're Jewish and bring them back to the faith, that's a good thing. Again, this is not about proselytizing to anyone who's not Jewish. It's purely about finding people who are Jewish and bringing them back to the faith. That's one element to Lubavitch. But a different element to Lubavitch, which predominates them and distinguishes them from other Jews, is that they are very obsessed in a way that perhaps is admirable, perhaps some would say is too much, but they're very, very fixated on the Messianic age and the coming of Mashiach. So we believe that the Messiah is going to come. This is something all Jews believe, Hasidic, non-Hasidic. We all believe that the Messiah is going to come eventually, and that when he comes, after he returns, there's going to be an age where there will be a third temple. That third temple would be in the area where the Al-Aqsa Mosque is. And that God basically is going to, we believe actually it's not going to be constructed by man. That's literally going to drop down from heaven, that we're not going to actually construct it. This is one of the things that isn't really discussed very much, certainly in non-Hasidic circles. Hasidic Jews in general are more fixated on the coming of the Messiah than non-Hasidic Jews. When I was in yeshiva, we very rarely, you make reference to, when Mashiach comes, which is Messiah. So when Mashiach comes and when there'll be a third temple, but it's not something we're supposed to actually take active steps towards implementing. And frankly, even amongst Hasidic Jews who fixate on that time and doing righteous deeds in order to merit the coming of the Messiah, that all of these different steps are basically, when they talk about the coming of the Messiah, they're not talking about we're going to name this person and have this person rise up and that he's our Messiah. The Messiah is basically going to come to us and it'll be very obvious that this person is the Messiah. He'll be recognized as the Messiah. And that after he comes, that there's going to be such revelations, as you probably learn about in some of your Christian teachings, but there'll be all these different revelations which will make it very clear that God is the one who runs the world, and that will be a Messianic age where there'll be a lot of different changes. Amongst those changes, after the Messiah comes, so this is not first you have Messiah coming, like literally on a donkey, Elijah on a donkey announcing the coming of the Messiah. That's what we all believe. It's an essential, it's a core belief. If you don't believe this, you're considered a heretic that you don't believe this. So I believe it. Everyone in my family believes that this is going to come. I actually think it's going to come a lot sooner than people realize. But that's neither here nor there. After Elijah comes, that's when there would be the third temple. There's no third temple coming before Elijah. There's no, and that's something that this is universally accepted Jewish perspective on the coming of the Messiah. So we do look forward to the day when the Messiah is going to come. We do look forward to Elijah coming first and announcing the arrival of the Messiah, then Messiah coming. And then we look forward to, after that, eventually, that there will be a rebuilding of the third temple. By the time the third temple is being rebuilt, there's not going to be like a fight of, oh, should they rebuild the third temple? It's not going to be like a whole thing, because we believe that when the Messiah comes, that all people will universally recognize God as one. And that's what's going to happen. It's not going to be like people going around having to convince you that there's God. It's going to be so visibly apparent to the entire world that the entire world will recognize our one true, omnipotent, omniscient, and benevolent God. So that is the perspective of Judaism that is universal, both with respect to Hasidic Jews and non-Hasidic Jews. This particular sect of Lubavitch, which open up these different houses that are called Chabad houses, they are very fixated, like I said, in outreach and in the Messiah. So why is this relevant over here in the context of what idiot Tucker Carlson is talking about? Because he's basically saying, oh, they want to have some coup, some overthrow, where they're going to be building the temple and tearing down the Al-Aqsa Mosque and trampling on them because they have some sort of will to predominate the world. And why is the IDF going around with this? You want to know why the IDF is going around with this? I'll tell you why. The reason they're going around with this is because a lot of people in the IDF are irreligious Jews from birth, because a lot of Israelis don't grow up in a religious environment. So it's a very rich farming area for Chabad, who are looking to make irreligious Jews religious, where they go around all over Israel trying to encourage irreligious Jews to become religious. And when they start fixating on making them come back to the faith, or encouraging them to come back to the faith, one of the things they're continually talking about is the days of the coming Mashiach, where after the Mashiach comes, then there'll be a third temple. Enter jackass over here, Tucker Carlson. What does he come up with? He's like, oh, why are IDF soldiers going around with this patch? You want to know why? Because they find inspiration in the notion that they're protected by God, and that they actually have a healthy purpose here. Does that mean that this is a global expansionism, so this way we can bring the Messiah? Absolutely not. There's not a single Jew out there who's sane, and most Lubavitch, even though they might look a little bit different than I do, they might dress a little bit differently than I do. Some of them, you look at them and you think, you look kind of like a nerd. But the reality is that they're all sane, and they're actually genuinely good people who care about helping other people. That's part of the way that they help bring irreligious Jews back to the faith, is that they actually tend to be ridiculously nice and ridiculously generous and caring. So that's part of the way that they help bring Jews back. And when they're talking about Judaism, they invariably will talk about the building of the temple. That's why you end up getting a patch like the one that I was trying to show you here, but I was having all sorts of mouse issues. That's why you end up getting a patch like this thing here. And I can't believe how my mouse is just being literally impossible right now. But that's how you end up getting a mask where it's basically where that's where you end up having a patch here, which is now finally my mouse is starting to work. Okay, so you see this, and this patch over here. What this is showing is this is a picture of the temple, and this is in Hebrew the word Mashiach. That's what these four letters here spell out in Hebrew is Mashiach. That's the patch. Sometimes it's blue, sometimes it's green. That's the patch they have. It's not a matter of saying, oh, we're gonna kick ass and destroy the world. This is a way of saying, I believe God is protecting me, and that ultimately Messiah is going to come, and that God is going to be protecting me. It's to give them encouragement as they go into battle and they're facing against a hail of bullets and missiles firing at them, that they actually have an added protection coming from God. That's why they have that. not a matter of some sort of campaign to destroy Arabs, to conquer Iran, and to help rule the world the way jackass Tucker Carlson is trying to portray. Like, oh, why do they have all this? Why does the IDF have this? They have it because as individuals, they find actually it helps to have a little bit of faith when you're a jet pilot, when you're a fighter pilot there, and you're facing missiles being fired up at you from the ground. I don't know. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's part of it. But this clown has to make it as if this is some sort of imperialistic march by the IDF or the Israel, and trying to implicate Chabad, which never harmed a fly. Like I said, I don't have any friends who are part of Chabad. I know a lot of people, but I don't have any close ties to Chabad personally. But the idea you're trying to implicate that these people have some sort of imperialistic agenda and that this is a matter of conquering the Arab world, you have to be an utter clown jackass, or you're a bad faith actor. And that's what Tucker Carlson is here, because anyone who spends 30 seconds really looking at it and investigating it will know that that's not some sort of negative, nefarious attitude they have. But this guy wants to put a target on Chabad's backs. And so many of these Chabad rabbis end up going out to Bombay. They end up going out to different in India, or they're in Australia. They're the ones who are creating these different little Jewish places that end up getting bombed by some lunatic who decides, oh, okay, I'm off in the middle of nowhere, and there's this group of Jews over there. I'm going to bomb. I'm going to at Bondi Beach. I'm going to go and drop and I'm going to start firing up there. Invariably, the Jews who are there are Chabad, because they're the ones who are spreading out throughout the world. And this jackass over here is now putting a target on them, saying they're the ones who are imperialistically trying to take over the entire Levant. That's what this a-hole is doing here. He's putting a target on every one of these poor rabbis' skulls, saying, oh yeah, they're motivating the IDF. The IDF is going to war for them. It's ridiculous. It's asinine. It's not just asinine, it's dangerous. And this is why this guy is complete and total a-hole. I've refrained from calling him an anti-Semite because I hate just throwing that term out here. But I'm going to tell you right now, this guy hates Jews. Okay, I've never said this about Tucker Carlson before. When I saw this ridiculous thing that he's putting out there, trying to get his stupid millions of followers who still actually listen to him and don't realize that he's a deranged psychopath to believe that Chabad is a threat, Chabad is a danger, these people who never harmed anyone, and now you want to basically encourage every deranged lunatic who's out there to go out there and actually try and harm someone from Chabad because oh my God, they're trying to take over the world so they can build up the temple and blow up the Al-Aqsa Mosque, whatever stupid nonsense that this guy is lying that anyone ever had an agenda to do is asinine, insane, and completely dangerous. And this guy is a horrible, horrible, horrible person.
Also, Joe, he's completely and 100% wrong to say that it's anti-Christian for the temple to be built, because that's part of Christian belief that the temple has to be built for God to come back. It's in the Bible.
The whole thing, everything he's saying here is just it's so twisted and evil. It's so twisted and evil. So yeah, I mean, I've held back from like basically dropping that label on him. I don't think I've ever said that about him, but now I was like, he's adjacent. He's very comfortable with it. This is something that you only say if you really hate Jews, because you have to be so reckless to not recognize that you're putting a target on every poor rabbi out there who's and most of these people who I'm calling a rabbi, like they're like these. The 25, 30-year-old, 35-year-old guys who you'll see that they've never shaved in their life, so their hair is spilling out everywhere, and they go around basically trying to give people matzah on Passover. That's like their big evil crime, and talk to them about like when the Mashiach comes that people will get along and be happy with each other. That's the big crime, and he's basically putting motivations in people's heads that they should go shooting these people up. And not recognizing that this is what happened. This is what happened in Paris. It's happened in Australia. It happened in India. It happens all over the globe, and it happens here in America. A-hole. Such a schmuck.
You should pull this up real quick that I have. It kind of ties into exactly all this.
Oh, okay. Pete Hegseth, Trump's pick for defense secretary, proclaimed his heartfelt belief that the third temple will be built in Jerusalem. He also called for Israeli annexation of the West Bank. With Trump in charge, Hegseth declared Israel should do what needs to be done.
And today, Jennifer and I and others had a chance to go see the Western Wall of the Temple Mount, the Western Wall tunnels, so much of the old city.
I didn't know they were serious about you guys having these tunnels. I thought the tunnels were a joke, but I guess
no,
it's real.
there actually are tunnels by the Western Wall. That's actually pretty funny. But this is the King David Hotel. I've been there many times in my life. The King David Hotel. It's in Jerusalem, on I think on King George, David Melech Street. I'm not sure. But go on.
And as you stand there, you can't help but behold the miracle before you. And it got me thinking about another miracle that I hope all of you don't see too far away. Because 1917 was a miracle. 1948 was a miracle. 1967 was a miracle. 2017, the declaration of Jerusalem as the capital was a miracle. And there's no reason why the miracle of the reestablishment of the temple on the Temple Mount is not possible. I don't know how it would happen.
Just pause it for a second. Just pause it for a second. I do want to be clear. I covered once that on Tim Pool, there was this guy talking about, like, you know, doing the whole sacrifice with the red heifer and preparing for the temple. I'm not going to tell you that there isn't the occasional fringe dude out there who might be, like, you know, a lunatic Chabad guy who might espouse something different from what I've told you. What I gave you during that whole breakdown there is recognized, let's call it, for lack of a better word, dogma, recognized perspective by Chabad and by all Orthodox Jews. Now, you might find some fringe lunatic person who's gonna be like, we gotta blow up the Al-Aqsa Mosque. There might be some dude out there who says that, but that's not. It's the same thing like you would see in, you know, Habad, some lunatic priest who basically believes that you need to, you know, castrate anyone who doesn't believe in Jesus, which, you know, there's probably someone out there who's a lunatic like that, but that's not something that Christian teaching ever endorses. So too, if you see some Jew talking about doing that, that's not what official Jewish teachings of anyone is.
Do you want to watch the rest of this? Or?
Yeah, why not?
How it would happen, but I know that it could happen. That's all I know. And a step in that process, a step in every process, is the recognition that facts and activities on the ground truly matter. And that's why going and visiting Judea and Samaria, understanding that sovereignty, the very sovereignty of Israeli soil, and Israeli cities, locations, is a critical next step to showing the world that this is the land for Jews and the land of Israel. And I believe, as was mentioned, he said you need to, what was mentioned is you need to buy the ticket. Don't just wish for 40 years to win the lottery, buy the ticket. I would submit to you, in light of the support you have in Washington, D.C., the support you have amongst patriotic Americans, amongst evangelical Christians, amongst believers, amongst Republicans, even amongst some Democrats who can barely say it anymore in Washington, buy the ticket, take your action, do what needs to be done here in Israel, because I truly believe this is a moment where America will have your back. You have Donald Trump in the White House, you have Mike Pence as vice president, you have Nikki Haley at the UN, you have true believers in Israel and America that have your back.
This was several years ago.
I'll tell you right now that so it wasn't during the context of the framing of this.
No. This was just because this came up. They were posting this about him because of the stuff with Tucker on X. So they're saying, "Oh, look at the defense secretary saying this is what they're trying to say. This is what the war's about."
Well, I'll tell you right now. If you ask me, what I really ideally am hoping Trump is going to do is basically tell Israel, go hog wild in there, doing what you need to do, try to harm as few civilians as possible. We're packing up and going home. That's what to me would be ideal. I don't want to see American soldiers there. Whatever missiles they need for defense, okay, fine. But like as far as American involvement there, I'd much rather that ends much sooner rather than later. I don't want to see American troops in harm's way. And yeah, that to me would be ideal. But they definitely, I can get very ethereal with you. I don't know if people like hearing me talk about like really deep Jewish philosophical stuff that even a lot of Orthodox Jews don't know. I can get very deep with you about, and on this particular issue, there's a famous rabbi known as the Maharal Prague,
who is also from the 17th century. He's the one who created the golem. You might have heard stories about the golem. So he was the guy who literally created the golem. Days of yore. And so he has a lot of brilliant writings. He was a really brilliant rabbi. His name is Rabbi Yehuda Low, I believe was his name and his actual, given name. And he has a whole thing where he's basically like that area there specifically as to like that space is a uniquely isolated different space from the rest of the world, that God sort of made that space specifically holy, where the Al-Aqsa Mosque is right now, where normal time and space dimensions, in his opinion, don't operate the way they do in the rest of the world. So there's actually indications from that you can find in Torah when you look at the dimensions of the temple that they had, that the various like the ark that was in there had poles that were 10 amos long. An amma is a unit of measurement, which is either 18 or 24. It's somewhere between 18 and 24 inches. There's disputes amongst rabbinical authorities as to how long an amma is. In plural, it's amos or amot. So the poles that they had were 10 amos long, but the walls were 10 amos apart. And it was facing vertically from the narrow way that was constructed, which means it wouldn't normally fit in there, which is a question that everyone asked. And the answer is that when it comes to the area where the temple is, the normal applicability of time and space don't operate in the same place in this area, where it's sort of a bridging of where God's essence resides. It's he's not operating in typical time and space parameters. And this area where there's sort of where the physical world is merging, so to speak, with the ethereal world, that normal time and space parameters don't really operate there. This is according to the Maharal. So the reason I'm mentioning this is people talk about you have to get rid of the Al-Aqsa Mosque. I'm like, you wouldn't even need to get rid of it, because it's like you're not dealing with the same sort of thing. It's difficult for people to understand. I'm just telling you what Jewish perspective is. I'm not trying to convince any of you that this is reality. I'm just telling you what Jewish thought is on it. Let me get through some of these chats because a bunch came in. What other president could get the Iranian people to rally and do the Trump dance at their gatherings? He's great. He's great. I don't know of any Christians who think the rebuilding Temple of Jerusalem is anathema. It's prophesied in the Bible and necessary precursor to the second coming of Jesus. So there you go. Like you were saying. Testing 1, 2, 3. All right. I hope that worked. Tucker's going to the insane bucket with Candace Owens. Zero respect left. Richard, thank you so much, my brother. I don't know if you meant to do that, but I realized Tucker was nuts when I saw him on Rogan. The manager where I get Thursday Night Challenge is named Menachem Mendel. He had a good laugh about Tucker. Chabadniks won't even go up on the Temple Mount. This is true. We won't walk on the Temple. Where the Al-Aqsa Mosque is, we won't walk there because we consider that ground too holy for us to walk on. So we consider like we would be defiling the ground by walking there. Is why the notion that we're going to go up there is ridiculous. Also, Chabad has nothing to do with Red Heifer Group or with Temple Institute, which prepares temple vessels. I wonder who fed this Mishigas to Tucker. I don't know. I have no idea where he came up with this, but Dan Vish is saying that Jesus is the Messiah. I pray my Jewish brothers and sisters come to him. I know you mean that I know you mean it as a kindness to me, and I take it as a gesture in that direction. He also says Protestant Christians are active in the temple agenda because the third temple is supposed to usher in the Antichrist, then the second coming. And the third temple agenda is new.
I think if I remember correctly, it's supposed to be like 1,000 years or something of the Antichrist ruling from the temple. And then
what was that?
So I don't know.
No, just say again. I didn't hear what you said.
It's supposed to be like, according to the Bible, some people's interpretation of the Bible, it's going to be like 1,000 years of the Antichrist ruling, and then Messiah will come back and
1,000 years.
Yeah, something like that.
I never heard something quite that
crazy
long.
like that.
That sounds really long. There's our prophecy actually says that he's going to come within 6,000 years. The Messiah is has to come within 6,000 years, and that we're currently in year 5,786. So given the overall time parameters, that it has to come on the outside 6,000. We pray it comes tomorrow, but that on the outside has to come within 6,000 years, which is, you're basically talking about 214 years left for it to happen. And frankly, I actually believe it's going to come a lot sooner, because I do not think that the world can stand the lack of. I think the world is too unstable for it to actually continue.
Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe it's 7 years for the Antichrist.
No, but the reason the
1,000
1,000 years would make sense to me, I'll tell you, we're going down a whole religious talk here, and I'm fine with that. The reason 1,000 years sounds like, when you say that number, it sounds like a logical thing, is because there are references in Torah how 1,000 years, one day is that 1,000 years to God is like one day. And there's all sorts of references to the fact that 6,000 days, because there's a whole thing around the number 6 and the number 7, 6 days of work and the 7th day resting. And so when you say 1,000 years of a certain period, I can understand where there would be an interpretation like that, because it does tend to fit in with various, Jewish teachings that would have been incorporated into Christian dogma. See what I'm saying? Like how that would, like, it's there's enough overlap there that it sounds like a lot of other things that Christianity has, where it just sort of seemed to morph Judaism.
I think it's in Revelation. I don't know. It's some level.
In Revelation.
I haven't. It's been a long time since I read the Bible, but it could be. I could be wrong. It could be 1,000 years that that Christ, or the Messiah, will rule after the Antichrist or something, with the people that are left behind, because it's supposed to be this time where everybody, all the righteous, are going to get taken up, and it's going to be like Revelation is going to be like the.
Yeah, well, we believe in a resurrection that's going to happen. I don't know if that's supposed to be before or after the temple, but after the Messiah comes, at some point there's supposed to be a resurrection of historically great holy men like Moses. But we actually believe it's a lot more than just like Moses. Like a lot of people you and I never heard of who lived 500 years ago, who were just righteous people, that they too would be resurrected at a certain point. But when that happens, relevant to Messiah coming is something that's
the rapture.
Is that what they call that? The rapture?
The rapture.
Yeah, I have a lot. These are terms I've heard, but like I never knew that that's what the rapture was. That's what the rapture is, resurrection?
Well, the rapture is when the people, the righteous that are alive, are going to be just basically disappear. This one day, if you wake up, they'll be gone.
Like Thanos?
Gone. Yeah, like Thanos gone. And I don't know. That's the way it was explained to me. And then, then there's going to be this time of basically everyone living under this Antichrist.
Right. Well, I mean, look, there's also, once we're on this topic in the context of the Iranian war, there are all sorts of speculations about how there's supposed to be a war that's a mighty war between West and East that's supposed to happen before the Messiah comes. So I will tell you that it's in vogue over the last week or two for a lot of people to be raising speculations whether this is that war that is like supposed to be like a cataclysmic war that is supposed to come shortly before. Some people believe World War II was that war, because they're saying that it was the cataclysmic war. Others are speculating that this is, West versus East, that's what this war is. And I know too little about this to weigh in with an opinion of my own on it. So, but I'm just sharing the fact that these. I do recognize that these are discussions that a lot of people in my circles speculate about, but I always feel ignorant, because I'm like, I don't know. My job is just, I'm supposed to fill my role and do my thing. I'm supposed to, pray to God, be a good person, do my job, support my family, be an honorable person, and fill the commandments in the Torah. And whatever happens tomorrow, that's beyond my pay grade. I leave that to God and greater minds than myself. I think this is a good breaking point, right?
Sure.
I think so. We covered a lot tonight. This was a fun show. I have a lot of other clips here that I'm feeling like I should do.
Go ahead. I got nothing else to do.
I'm feeling very guilty. Can I confess? I feel very guilty that I haven't really been.
Yes, my son. Tell me your sins.
I've been feeling very guilty that I haven't been paying enough mind to locals.
Oh, okay. Oh, you want to go do a local stream? Go do that then.
I think I'm going to do I'm going to do a locals and also members, like YouTube members, do a members only stream. and share a link to that, and I'll basically, because I feel like I have at least 45 minutes to an hour worth of material left here. I'll invite you. You can if you want to join me, you can join me. I'm not pushing you at all to do that.
I'll join.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll join.
but I feel like this is a good breaking point. I think this is a good breaking point for tonight's show. So, but first, before I do this, let me set the stream up. Let me do that. So why don't you tell people about yourself while I'm setting up the stream?
Yeah, my name's Jim, and I tell you the news, or my opinion of the news and what I think it's about. And I do a show almost every night of the week. I try to at least 5 nights a week at somewhere between 9 and 11 p.m. Just talking over news topics of the day that I find interesting. You can find me at Jim Tells You on X, on X also, and also on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, Facebook, Instagram, and locals.
Sweet. You need to talk for like at least 3 more minutes.
Yes. Yes. And don't go to Jim for biblical interpretation. I have not read the Bible in a coon's age.
Is that like you don't mean that in like a? I don't know what the term. I don't know what
that's a term, like a coon's age. It's like a thing. It's like one of those words, like bejesus.
I actually had a whole dispute with someone this week whether bejesus is a contraction of the term belief in Jesus.
I know. I was there.
Yeah. So I knew I had this recently. All right. So I'm setting this up for 12:51. I set up for 12:55. That's what we'll do. We'll set up for 12:55 a.m. Eastern time and schedule. And then I'm going to set up a local. So I got a StreamYard. Set up a new thing here. You want to tell them some of the stuff we're going to be talking about during the show?
I don't know what you want to talk about.
You don't know what I want to talk about? Well, I'm definitely want to talk a little bit about Iran. I've got.
Okay, we'll talk about Iran.
I've got a funny clip making fun of Tucker Carlson, which is actually pretty good.
Oh, that clip, I saw that. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. I also want to talk a little bit about Megyn Kelly, who I don't think is at all like Tucker Carlson. I think people are being really hard on her.
I don't know what's going on with Megyn Kelly. Like, she seems to be like skirting the line of craziness.
I give her much more of a pass than most other people. I got stuff I want to talk to you about Mark Warner. I've got stuff here on, what was it? I had a whole massive story. Oh my gosh, I have all this stuff on Nancy Mace and the slush fund.
Oh yeah, the slush fund thing. That's like weird, man. All these people, they cried and cried about Epstein files, but then it's like, no, the shit about us, no, we're not releasing that. You cannot know all the people that got money from us.
Yeah. So I got I got a lot of stuff that I want to talk to you about with respect to that. What am I not doing here? I got to switch to RTMP, get my stream settings. This is not easy to do while streaming, is creating my own separate stream in the middle. This is really much harder than it looks. But yes, I definitely want to this is after show party. After show members only party. Locals. All right. Catching news of the week. And I need to have add a new destination to other platforms. RTMP, Control V. You're really not making much conversation here.
Oh, I don't know.
What do you think? What did you send me? Because I didn't get a chance to look at your email. So what do you think?
You didn't look at my email at all?
I looked at the first 2 things on it, I think.
Let's see. There's a whole article in here about how the GOP establishment hates MAGA and Trump. That truck drivers in a single state, they did a crackdown in a single state and nabbed 600 drivers who couldn't speak or read English. Let's see. And then there was the ruling about the immigration ruling in the Ninth Circuit. House committee subpoenas Pam Bondi. Trump and Bondi face a lawsuit.
I think that's
for
interesting.
TikTok sale.
I think that's interesting.
Oil spiked to over $80 a barrel again. And that because Iran claimed it struck some tankers, and Azerbaijan also got struck by Iran, so the conflict's expanding.
Okay.
And Pete Hegseth urges Latin American allies to go on the offensive against the drug cartels. Florida is reviving the probe into Raul Castro over the 1996 shoot down of an exile group's plane over the Strait of Florida. And then Russian aircraft were detected near Alaska. And the DHS is probing Bovino now over them comments. I think we talked about it when Bovino made a comment about the U.S. attorney in Minnesota not working on Saturdays. Like, oh, what? You can't work? Why can't you work Saturday or something? Because he's, I guess, Orthodox Jew, so he didn't, doesn't work on the Sabbath.
Who's that?
Whoever the U.S. attorney was for Minnesota, and so like basically they're probably
There's an Orthodox Jew who's the U.S. attorney from Minnesota.
I guess, or he keeps the Sabbath, so whatever, keeps kosher, whatever. I don't know what you call it exactly, but I guess that's
a problem. Like there's
no, it wasn't a problem, but he said something about we can't get a hold of him.
Saturday?
Yeah, something about can't get a hold of him on Friday nights or Saturdays, and so, or like whatever. And he's like, oh, and I guess he made some like, oh, God's chosen people, and so they're going after him, saying he's anti-Semitic.
Who said that?
That's what I guess that's what Bovino said, and like made a comment like, "Oh, God's chosen people can't work on Saturdays."
See, I hate when people try to make a big stink about someone making a comment like that. Who cares? So he makes a
Well, that's what
comment
they're trying now. They're in whole investigation against.
And they
some,
oh, gee, just leave the guy alone. I'm so tired of everyone trying to track down anytime someone says something. It's like, oh my God, it's kind of funny actually. It's a funny statement. Like, why got make a melon?
And there was a huge fight. There was some deranged leftists that decided to wear his old Marine uniform to try to sneak into a hearing. And a senator, Senator Sheehy, who's a ex-Navy SEAL, had to break his arm to get him out of there.
Really?
Yeah, along with the Capitol Police. But supposedly the guy started punching Capitol Police, and so Sheehy jumped up and grabbed him and basically put him in an arm bar and broke his arm.
Wow. So you have good stuff to share with me here. This is awesome.
Yeah, American Airlines is going to start going flights back to Venezuela. They first airline in 15 years or something. And then some leftist architect is complaining about the ballroom, says it's too big. The ballroom's too big. It must be smaller.
That's what she said.
And then in the good news, it's been reported that the U.S. government's workforce has shrunk by 12% since Trump took office.
That's an amazing thing, by the way.
Yeah.
That's a really good thing.
It is.
This is what I wanted tonight. Oh my God, I screwed up. I think I really screwed up. You know what I just did?
You started it already?
No. Damn it. I accidentally made this stream members only.
Uh-oh.
I think I just chased everyone out. I totally screwed that up, but I undid it right now. So I think I just, no. I undid it. I undid it. It was an accident. Chat went down. I undid it. It was an accident. It was an accident. It was an accident. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I was trying to make the other stream that's upcoming at 12:55. I was trying to make that members only. And while in the process of doing that, I clicked on the wrong stream and I made this one members only. So I undid it. And hopefully, those of you who got bounced out, I'm really sorry.
Are you streaming to Facebook?
Yeah, I'm streaming Facebook. Why?
I stream to Facebook every night. I've never seen a comment from Facebook in the chat, and I've just seen it on your stream. And I'm like, how does this work? I've never been able to get it to work.
Oh, I don't know. I have 6 people watching me on Facebook.
All right.
So don't get all. I am going locals and yeah, I'm going locals and the other one. So unfortunately, we did not hit our goal tonight. So I may stream Saturday night, but it's not locked down. That's for sure. And
you guys can all see me tomorrow at 9 p.m. on Friday. Jim will tell you some news.
I have a ton of some awesome things I want to share with you in our locals only / whatever. I should give a link for the locals, right? So I'm going to give that link now. I'm gonna pin this in the chat. That's what I wanted to do. Copy, pin this in the chat here. Locals after party. It's locals and members only, but in case you're not a member, locals after party. It's so hard to set. There's so much like back end stuff to set up when doing this.
I've never attempted it, so I don't know.
Yeah. You never tried setting up a stream while you're in the middle of a stream?
No.
And now I gotta go in here to this, and put it in the description. Local members / Okay. There we go. All right. So I guess what's left is for me to tell you that you should subscribe to Jim. You have a couple minutes because I'm going to be heading over there. We're starting that show up at 12:55. I'm going to be sharing a link with Jim, and he's going to be joining me over there. And I will see you locals and members only. If you're not able to make it there, I totally understand. Just going to tell you that I'm not going to be here tomorrow night. Maybe around Saturday night. Follow on locals to find out where I'm going to be. Lab meat is disgusting. It's gross. It's hideous. It's not. It was never meant for you. It was meant for they, them. And do not eat the bugs. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Have a phenomenal weekend. Good night and Godspeed.